Cloak and dagger, cloak and dagger, cloak and dagger. Holy smokes. We are live, we are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. What is going on? Welcome into the house that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid to be a legend. You know the spiel. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share the video with your family and friends. I just put out a tweet. We are live. Arizona State money perch is furious. We just got an email. I just can't post it. Michael Crow, you supported Larry Scott. And Larry Scott went on to destroy the Pac-12, and now Michael Crow is on his way to destroying the Pac-12 once again, or making it so the Pac-12 presidents are about to do the largest gamble in athletics, college athletics history. They're about to roll the dice on an Apple deal. Michael Crow, I'm telling you, Bobby Robbins of Arizona. It's always been the Arizona schools would have to leave, or at least Arizona, for the Pac-12 to get cracked open again, for the Big Ten to go and look at Washington and Oregon, and suddenly out of nowhere, Arizona State. Let me post something here real quick. And it's not just about Arizona State, but in large part, it is. In large part, it is. Let me show you. Let me get this a little bit bigger. There we go. Arizona is doing everything it can to leave. Chris Carpin. The Arizona Board of Regents wants the schools to be together and has authority. Michael Crow is pushing for more consideration. The Pac-12 is meeting this morning on the grant of rights. It's getting very messy. Crow has always preferred the Pac-12 to stay together. Well, so has all the presidents. They've all wanted that. I've got to say, the donors of Arizona State, they are ready to go. I don't know. Arizona, the donors are ready to go to the Big 12. What Michael Crow is doing, I don't know if I have the vocabulary to use the right words, the correct words for it. I'm gobsmacked. Arizona, I think they are willing to go alone. But I guess people heard what Bobby Robbins has been saying in the last few hours. We're going to get to your phone calls. We're going to get to your phone calls. We're going to get to your comments. Arizona schools are playing with absolute fire. And then look, Arizona, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. At what point can we start saying if the Big Ten wanted Washington, Oregon? It's way more complicated than that. The Big Ten does want Washington and Oregon, but they can't legally, they do not feel they can move on it until the Pac-12 gets cracked open again, and that involves the Arizona schools. No, I think that should be put to rest. The Big 12 at a certain price wants Oregon and Washington into the conference. I think that's been proven. But legally, the legal counsel has been putting their brakes on it until the Pac-12 gets cracked open by more than Colorado. And we've been saying that for months. So that is not accurate. I think Washington got cold feet when Stanford and California weren't getting the invite. We'll see. We'll see after this Pac-12 meeting. Now, I've got some Oregon people, some writers saying, well, 5 months, 5 years from now. Either way, I don't know. I mean, yes, we've been saying either 5 months from now or 5 years from now. But, look, the Big Ten was ready to offer if the Arizona schools get cracked open, if they go to the Big 12. But if the Arizona... you can't always guarantee what's going to happen years down the road. Washington and Oregon. I think people are misreading this. No one wants Oregon in their conference. The Big Ten wants Oregon in their conference. This is wild. No question about it. This is historic in every way. If the Pac-9, we're going to start calling them the Pac-9, and if they stay together and they get San Diego State to pay $34 million. But right now, if the Pac-9 actually signs the grant of rights to this Apple deal, it's going to be, and we've been saying this as well, a fascinating watch to see how this works. They put their lot in with Larry Scott on a partially subscription-based Pac-12 network where they were going to go it alone and the conference has suffered. Now they're ready to gamble again on a commissioned media package with the Apple where they have to sell so many subscriptions. They're gambling that people outside the Pac-12 is going to watch Pac-12 football, Pac-9 football. They're gambling that the Pac-9 country is going to watch Pac-9 football behind the Apple TV paywall. This is a gamble if it happens. If the momentum has turned, this is the largest gamble in college athletic history by 9 university presidents. Unbelievable. If it happens this way, Notre Dame better cancel that Stanford game. I'm not getting Apple TV. Shattuck, I'm not watching Apple. The meeting has started. Thank you, D5 Terps. Pac-9 is not a Power 5 conference. 2026 negotiations. You know what? I've already missed one super chat. Let me get to him. Sergeant Pickles, talk me off the figurative ledge. I can't take it. Sergeant Pickles, man. We were not expecting this at peek around the corner. We thought Arizona was going to go, and then Arizona State was going to follow. Michael Crow. Will Arizona go alone? Ryan Martin. Sheer reporting the main point this morning is an exit fee. You're talking about the Big 12 exit fee? Explain that to me, Ryan. Are you talking about the Big 12 exit fee? They don't want to go to the Big 12, Arizona and Arizona State, because they're going to have to pay $80 million or so of an exit fee if they ever leave the Big 12. Let me know if that's what you mean. Let me know. I think they should be more concerned about the Apple TV media package. K-Ray, Pac-9 forever. Wow. I have Apple TV, but I won't pay for the Pac-12 content. $80 million at this point. Is Arizona schools putting some leverage on the Big 12? I don't think the Big 12 is going to capitulate. They have the exit fee in there for a reason. And they'll just go and take on UConn. UConn, this is a dream come true. If the Pac-9 stays together, UConn, this is your shot. The dominoes might be falling your way. Holy smokes. You can't make this stuff up. Michael Crow is the gift that keeps on giving. College football YouTube channels. Holy smokes. The PAC is talking about adding an exit fee with the new grant of rights. Come on. Come on. Come on. Are you kidding me? Greg, where are you? Wait. In PATC. Yes, honey, the moderator. This is an emergency live show. The Pac-9 might stay together. I got to get back to this. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? An exit fee. Now they're going to get themselves behind it. Come on. Movie Time Blues. Never underestimate presidential egos. The Pac-9 would die with Apple TV. What is going on? What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Pac-12 leadership is just awful. Apple better be paying the schools $50 million a year. Otherwise, what are they doing? Seriously. Per Pat 40, the ACC is partnering with the PAC and scheduling likely TV sharing on the ACC network. Wow. Let me take a look at that. Holy smokes. I'm going to go through my... This is an unbelievable epic story. Oh, woo! Yeah, you know, I did an episode this morning. James Crapia, the great writer out of Oregon, said that Oregon would accept an invitation to the Big Ten if offered. Well, doesn't seem to be the case. And I did an episode on it. The great reporter out there just a couple hours ago. Wow. The sudden turn on this is unbelievable. PATC theater patrons are getting their money's worth. Wow. ACC PAC merger. I don't know. I mean, Florida State. Florida State now. I don't even know what to say. Florida State, they're going to share the ACC. There's going to be some PAC schools being played on the ACC network. They're going to share the network. This is better than a daytime soap opera. I don't know. I don't know where you're getting your information from. The Big Ten is not saying no to Washington and Oregon. The offer is there for Washington and Oregon to take if Arizona schools leave the PAC. I mean, look, the first domino is Arizona. If they stay in the PAC, the Big Ten isn't going to officially anymore talk with Washington and Oregon. But Big Ten wants Washington and Oregon. I'm not sure why you keep thinking that's not the case. If the Big Ten is closing, immaculate. If the Big Ten is closing the door and moving to 18 for now, that means Oregon and Washington need a solution with the PAC. That would possibly keep the other schools with them for now. Geez, what? This again, when is my conference going to learn? Luis Carlos Diaz is in the house. So you're telling me there's a chance. San Diego State, SMU. Wow. Expansion is also part of the Pac-12 CEO group's meeting this morning, per source, with knowledge. San Diego State and SMU fans on standby. Woo! It's going to cost San Diego State $34 million to get into a conference that's going to be on Apple TV. Anyone who says Oregon and Washington are not accepting the Big Ten deal are crazy. The Big Ten is saying no to them. At this point, it's not either way. For the Big Ten to officially, for Big Ten to take on Oregon and Washington, they need the Pac-12 to get cracked open again, and that may not happen. The Arizona schools may stick. We'll see what happens in the meeting. Washington wants $10 million for travel for the Big Ten, but will settle for nothing to travel even further to Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, ACC. Wow. This is God, look at this. A lot of rumors going on. Take a look at this rumor. Take a look at this rumor. Jason Scheer. Lots of rumors going on right now. Hard to confirm. We won't know the truth for a few more hours. One of the rumors is Oregon State, Washington State taking cuts that would go directly to Oregon and Washington, basically. You can't survive. The health of the conference is not only about the top of the conference, it's about the bottom of the conference. If Oregon State and Washington State have even less revenue compared to other Autonomy 5 bottom schools, the Pac will suffer. This will not work. This will not work. Again, my opinion only, but history tells us so. Okay. Whoops, sorry guys. A lot of things going on here. Exclusive. Florida State University is working with J.P. Morgan Chase to explore how the school's athletic department could raise capital from institutional funds such as private equity. Sounds like that's their plan. That could be part of their plan to get out, to say, here you go, ACC, ESPN, we are done with you. And then pay back whatever to JP Morgan, give JP Morgan a chase, a part of the athletic department. Holy smokes. The school is considering structure pro sports investment where commercial rights are rolled into a new company. The private equity fund invests in the entity, then recoups its money via future media sponsor revenue. The process comes as Florida State trustees and administrators publicly voice their concerns that the Seminoles, as member of the Atlantic Coast Conference, are financially falling behind rival schools in the SEC and the Big Ten. A handful of FSU trustees and spokespeople did respond to multiple requests for comment. Wow. There is so much going on. We're going to do the best we can here at Peek Around the Corner. We're going to do the best we can to stay on top of it all. Marlon Shaw, I cannot believe Arizona would take this. If the Pac-9 agree to this, they get what they deserve. And we put that on a tweet. I mean, the Wildcat fans, I know the message boards and Twitter, that's not a good gauge of a fan base because they're the most intense part of the fan base. But Bobby Robbins, you are playing with fire as Michael Crow is playing cloak and dagger on you. Michael Crow is playing cloak and dagger, trying to rally the troops to sign this Apple TV. Michael Crow once again. McMurphy knows something. McMurphy, 3 eyes. McMurphy, 3 eyes. Holy smokes. What's going on? We're going to do the best we can to keep up with everything. Nicole Arbach. Something else to keep an eye on today. Per industry sources, we know the ACC and the Pac-12 have talked about potentially working together. The ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said last week he was open to expansion and anything that makes us better and stronger conference. So we're talking about an alliance. Okay, hold on, everybody, hold on. Hold on, everybody, hold on. There it is, Brett McMurphy. The 3 sets of emojis. 3 of them. 3 of them. What does that mean? What does that mean? Put down in your comments. We're going to get to your phone calls right now. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I need to get to your phone calls. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel. Jared Jones, Mr. Buckeye. This is wild. Wow, I knew I shouldn't have come into work today. Thanks for always being on top of this realignment, Mr. Godfather. I got to send a text message real quick here. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Give me a second. I apologize. I'm trying to stay on top of things. I'm getting messages. I might have to do that again. Jared Jones, yes, thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity to the channel. Wow. UConn is standing by. Luis Carlos Diaz thinks it's San Diego State, SMU, Colorado State. Those are Luis Carlos Diaz. 3 emojis. No, sir. Is this comedy, tragedy, or farce? I tell you what, we can't even keep up. The people at the loading dock at the Holy Smokes Theater, they are on strike this morning. They went outside. They have a picket. They're walking around in a circle with pickets, saying that Greg Flugard treats us, in a bad way. They are on strike. So right now we can't do a play. The loading dock employees are on strike. No, sir. Thank you. So super chat again. I appreciate it. I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming in. We're gonna get to your phone calls right now, but I got to tell you something. When you're talking, I'm going to be engaged. But I got a lot of stuff coming at me right now. So bear with me. Do not be afraid to be a legend on these phone calls. Tell me what's going on. The number is 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. The lines are open. Right now, we're looking at an ACC Pac-12 merger. Holy Smokes Theater employees demanding to be paid more than McDonald's employees. Brandon's got me. Brandon has got me.
Call from
Location Pass.
Okay, what's going on, Western Civic? The whole world's blowing up.
Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
I don't want to cross the picket line.
Yeah,
but I want to be in solidarity with your. That's great. I'm very sympathetic to your.
I understand.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should just hang up. What do you think?
No, go ahead.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Look, I've got a money shot for you, but before we get to that, I got some real concerns, Greg. Not only are your strikers got a good point, but because of your strike, the biggest player in your theater, remember who the biggest player in the theater, they're not going to cross the picket line either. And the biggest player, of course, is you and me and every other college football fan. And if we don't wake up and look at what's going on here and just get caught up in the soap opera and forget about all the other changes that are going on, we're going to have a problem. Now, you know what the most alarming thing that came to me when I watched the interview on War Chant about Florida State? You know what was most alarming to me about that?
What? Let me know.
They're shrinking their stadium. What on earth kind of oligarchical madness is that? Anyway, and look, I want to explain what happened to me. I know we're talking about football, but real quick, and I got a money shot for you, so don't I got something for you. I'm teasing you here because it's good. But I went to the Mariners game, and I insisted on paying cash. Let me explain to you what happened. We've done this twice now. They have a machine inside the stadium that'll take your cash and turn it into a Visa card because they don't take cash, which is obviously illegal. You can read that on any $20 bill. This is legal tender, all debts public and private, except at the ballpark apparently. But still there's an out. But apparently they don't give paper tickets anymore. Instead, after all this, we were able to get it, and the guy handed us something called a location pass, Greg.
Okay.
And it had a subcategory on it, and it said, only for people who are having mobile technology problems.
Okay.
So you're not allowed a ticket, you're allowed a location pass.
Western Civic. We
Yes,
have breaking news I understand.
I know, it's unreal, but I just want to make sure that in the midst of it, oh, wait a minute, you got something else, I'll hold.
We've got things lined up. This is an airport. We got planes stacked up.
Right.
I understand
Well,
your concerns about mobile tickets, but I got other callers.
Well,
we got to get
Let
going
me get to the money shot, Greg. Let me tell you what I heard.
Okay,
and I'm going to give you a theory. Let me give you a theory what I think's going on this morning. Because this PAC stuff doesn't make any sense. But if I had a guess, this is all this noise about the PAC coming back together this morning is Bobby Robbins fighting his relegation. And let me explain. Last night, and I have a very good source on this. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's within the ASU athletic department. Last night, at that meeting, Arizona, maybe they didn't get it done because all this noise this morning, but the purpose of that meeting last night was
we got break. Hey, Western, we've got breaking news all over the place.
Okay, well, just real quick, I got one.
Finish it up in 10 seconds. I'm serious. We got stuff going.
He said Arizona State has an offer they cannot refuse, which I think is hilarious given our Godfather thing. So Arizona is being separated from Arizona State because Arizona State has an offer they cannot refuse.
Okay.
I have no idea where, if it's the SEC, if it's a big or something else.
Got it.
But that's it. I will not log in to watch football. Annual playoff flexibility remains the key. And no war, my friend. No war.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, we got breaking news all over the place. Pete Thamel, sources indicating to me, Heather, that the Pac-12 is unlikely to land the plane this morning and get its media rights deal signed on this call today. Jason Shear, and another rumor, there's been discussion of a Pac-12 and ACC saving each other through a merger. I don't understand. Look.
Call from
Dylan Vance.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the name.
Dylan Vance.
Dylan, thanks for... Oh, Dylan Vance, thank you, sir, for calling. Can you hold 1 second, please?
Yeah.
I just want to say something here. I don't understand how a PAC-ACC merger could even get off the ground. It makes no sense in so many different ways. Why would Washington and Oregon sign a grant of rights to 2036? Would ESPN be willing to shorten that grant of rights? Would ESPN be willing to let Florida State and a few schools out? Why would Washington and Oregon sign that? None of this makes any sense to me. Dylan Vance, go ahead. You got the call.
I got some breaking news for you.
Yes.
The Big Ten, Jason Taylor put on Twitter, the Big Ten has scheduled a call today to discuss Oregon and Washington.
Okay, got it. And we got D5 Terps. The Big Ten situation with Oregon and Washington remains fluid. Sources tell Nicole Arbach. All right, Dylan Vince, anything else?
And also, I think all this stuff coming out. Oregon ain't went to the Big Ten now. Just a Pac-12 smokescreen. I think the Pac-12 is trying to get some positive. I want to ask this effort to put some positive press out there.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. Hey, Dylan, thanks for all those DMs you send me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you being a part of the community. I appreciate you keeping your head on a swivel for the community. So I appreciate you very much.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
Thank you, sir. All right. That's Dylan Vance. Always keeping my head on a swivel. Sean says the Big Ten's going to sweeten the pot.
Call from
Crab cakes and football.
Crab cakes and football. Go ahead. I got to get my wife on the line here. Keep going.
All right. Hey, if everything is true and that the Pac-9, I guess it is, signed their grant of rights, you're looking at one happy Terp with Oregon not coming into our league. But I'm beginning to think, just like a couple of months ago when they had that big uproar that the grant of right was going to be signed and nothing ever happened, that it is a smokescreen, a last-ditch effort to try to save the conference. So at the end of the day, I think Arizona still leads. I think Arizona State and possibly Utah still break off, and unfortunately Oregon and Washington come to the Big Ten. That's
Okay.
where I think this is still headed.
So you still
I know
think
you
it's
got a
headed in
busy
that
day.
direction? So this is
I
all like
still
a
think it's
last
going in that
ditch,
direction.
like a last ditch
Yeah,
effort, right?
All last-ditch effort.
Okay.
Let's hear the last numbers.
Oh.
Everything else.
Okay, we got McMurphy breaking news. I'm sorry, Crab Cakes. Thanks for calling.
No problem.
Appreciate it,
Have
my
a good one.
brother. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, where am I at? Where am I at? Where am I at? Where am I at? Brett McMurphy. Pac-12 unable to get a grant of rights signed this morning, and nothing has changed as far as Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten. Sources told Action Network Ducks and Huskies still expected to be Big Ten bound when the finances are worked out, sources said. So we are on a roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if we're going to be able to get off this ride today. Holy smokes, Brett McMurphy. The great Brett McMurphy. So, are we back? Are we back to where we thought things were going? I got so much information here. So much information.
Call from
Anthony Mazzano.
Anthony, thanks for calling, sir. The floor is yours. What do you got to say?
Hey, Greg, how are you today?
Huh?
How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's a crazy morning.
Greg, this is an honest question. I'm not sure if you're able to answer this and stuff like that. Realistically, what is the most realistic combination for the Big Ten to get out of the ACC? Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, North Carolina, or Clemson, North Carolina?
I'm sorry. The question is, what is the most...
What is the most realistic combination from the ACC that the Big Ten can get? Florida State, Miami, Miami, Clemson,
Yeah.
Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, Florida State, North Carolina, or Clemson, North Carolina?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just not able to answer that question because I have to know how the ACC implodes. Like, does it happen after 2036, 2033? Does it happen next year?
No.
Huh?
if Florida State's able to get out of the conference.
Oh, well,
If it happens around like 2027 or like a few years before around 2027, 2028 and stuff like that. That's the time frame. Like 2027 or 2028, if Florida State and Clemson and Miami are able to, and North Carolina are able to get out of the grant of rights earlier, and their athletic departments are willing to, their presidents are willing to pay the
I understand.
of getting out.
I have said that I thought Miami of Florida was the biggest lock of all the ACC schools to be in the Big Ten. So that would be part of my combination if I had to guess. Miami of Florida, and I would guess the Big Ten would go after North Carolina. I don't know if they'll be able to get North Carolina, but right now, for our purposes, with all this breaking news, I'll say North Carolina, Miami, Florida. But, of course, that could be completely wrong.
No, yeah, for me, I'm going to shock everybody. I say Clemson and Miami.
Okay.
Now, because honestly, I don't really. Or my mistake. Miami and Florida State. I think Clemson and North Carolina go to the SEC and stuff like that, because I don't think these rumors about the SEC wanting Florida State are true. I think they don't really want the bad history, the bad blood they have from when Florida State was independent and refused to join the conference when they offered them a spot before Arkansas joined the conference. I really don't think it happens. I don't think money matters for Florida State. It's their pride. I don't think they want to join a conference that Bobby Bowden himself, out of his own mouth, said the reason why he felt it was easier to win championships in the ACC compared to the ACC. It was easier to win championships in the ACC than the SEC. So you really think when a former coach, a big time coach like that says that, you really think the conference is going to even allow Florida State to come in after a former coach like a respected coach like Bobby Bowden says that? You really think that bad blood is gone, Greg, in your honest opinion?
I think things are so fluid right now. I think bad blood lasts about 10 seconds when it comes to all this. I don't think there's bad blood.
And it's money.
Yeah,
money.
It's about money and exposure. Okay, we got to get on to the next phone call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know the phone lines are just crammed. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Call from.
Wild Ute.
To accept, press 1.
Wow, Jute, you're on the line.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm having a hard time figuring out what I'm doing with this computer. Wow, dude, what is going on? Let me just break in something here. Ross Dellinger, it's a roller coaster. Minutes before Pac-12 president's meeting was scheduled to begin, Oregon officials expressed further concerns about the Apple deal. Pac-12 is now not expected to resolve the grant of rights this morning. Big Ten meeting is going on here in a little bit. What do you think, Wild Dude?
I think there's a black swan thrown into the mix here.
Okay.
I think that ESPN's been thrown into the mix. And so the Pac is on life support, right? Dead. Done. And then all of a sudden, the ACC is about to be on life support too with FSU. I mean, it's pretty clear to see. So I think that the ACC and the Pac, I think there's real smoke around the survival of a lot of those schools.
Yeah.
And not wanting to make a move to a different conference. You know why? Cultural fit, Greg. Cultural fit.
Yeah.
It really is. They're like-minded institutions. Their mission statements are similar too. And so that matters. That matters tremendously. So I think that they're trying to work it out. Honestly, I could totally see a Pac-X and ACC merger of some sorts that ESPN's behind. Because if ESPN loses Florida State and that all crumbles, there might be a bunch of new time slots available. It really shakes everything up. Plus, ESPN gets in the late night window with the Pac. So it makes sense to me that the ACC, the remains of the ACC without FSU, Miami, and whoever, and the Pac could survive on and compete for that third super conference with the Big 12. Not to say it's going to work, but I think that's what's going on.
So ESPN is the they're getting in the game now, right? The cloak and dagger ESPN. Is that what you're saying?
I think that Apple and ESPN would both be partners. Absolutely, ESPN.
Okay.
I mean, there's no smoke on that or anything. That's just complete conjecture.
I get it. I get it.
But that's the only thing I could think of, right? Like, why else would this go on anymore? This is like, if it wasn't going on like this, why would the Pac want to survive? There's no point in the Pac wanting to survive and just being on all their games on Apple platforms where no one's going to watch them. Everyone knows that. The presidents know that. They're not idiots, and so really they got to figure out some way to get linear, and ESPN was always that piece of it. And go ahead.
I also think, and we have said this, the Big Ten, they do, I know people disagree and everything, but the Big Ten, they're waiting for the Arizona stuff to happen. I mean, they've been dealing with Oregon and Washington, right? But I mean, we're talking official stuff with Washington and Oregon. And then so the Big Ten, they're sort of limiting themselves to be able to get this squared away with Washington and Oregon. They're trying to figure out the finances, but they're still waiting for Arizona to act. Now you got Michael Crow, right? Who's throwing up all this stuff. And now Arizona's like, geez, this is going to make it more difficult for us. I think a lot of it has to do with Michael Crow, the president of Arizona State.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Michael Crow is preventing a University of Arizona from moving over to the Big 12, essentially. I mean, they want to go together, right? I think Arizona wants to go with the other 4
Immaculate. Are you there?
Immaculate?
I'm sorry. Wild Oot. You're there, right? Just keep talking. I have to have a little conversation with the moderator. Just keep talking, okay? Tell everybody what you think, what's going on.
Yeah, so really what it looks like is going on is there is a black swan that came to the table late in the game that is keeping the Pac afloat for the time being. Not to say it's going to work, but I think ESPN is in play in the background where they haven't been a major player before. Apple's been the major player. But I do think ESPN is now on the table again looking at what they're going to do, how they're going to play this. The ACC is falling apart. FSU's going to be out. What's going to happen with the ACC network, with ESPN's contract with the ACC? And I think that the ESPN probably looking at trying to facilitate some type of ACC plus Pac merger with the remaining teams of the ACC plus the Pac that have survived. We'll see if that works, but I do think that's what's going on behind the scenes.
Got you. Wow, dude, you have a very curious mind, which makes you excellent at this. You're poking and prodding. You're always bringing up good points. You may be right. Are you guys going on later today, or what's going on at Holy Rivals?
Yeah, at Holy Rivals. We're not going on later today, but we'll be on Monday.
Okay.
So we'll be discussing this type of stuff and the fallout, but really it's craziness, like you said. It's up and down. Super hard to work right now, Greg.
Yeah. No, I know. We've had to make some major adjustments in this household. I got my brother coming over to take care of my parents. The little general had to cancel something. So, you know how it is, college football YouTube channel, you have to sacrifice some things. But this is a major day, so we're gonna keep on it here at Peek Around the Corner. We might be here all day long. Wow, dude, thank you. Call back again.
Thanks, Greg.
Call back again, probably later today, okay?
Okay, take care.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I apologize, everybody. I had to step away for a second. It's going to be that sort of day. I'm going to do the best I can. We got a whole lot of information. Jason Shears indicating the Wildcat Authority that Washington is very concerned with the Apple deal. Was this some sort of information messaging to leverage Washington and Oregon with the Big Ten to make the Big Ten offer a little bit more money? I don't know.
Call from
Mona Vision.
Mona Vision. I thanks for coming on in, Mr. Buckeye. I'm not going to stop you this time. The floor is yours.
Okay, Greg. Strap in. It's going to be a busy day here.
Got it.
Big Ten and Oregon and Washington are having a meeting later this afternoon.
Okay.
I think the holdup, or what I've been told the holdup is, Oregon needs a couple votes. Some of the bigger brands are now on board with Oregon, but some of the smaller brands still are not. Washington wants to come with Oregon. They won't leave without Oregon. I think they may actually get their money bumped up by the Big Ten as well. I think the Big Ten probably lowballed them because they could.
Yeah.
But now they're going to sweeten the pot a little bit. But Oregon and Washington are the big. I still think that's solid. I think I think Arizona State, Utah end up in the Big 12. I know the thought was that they were going to wait for the Pac to deteriorate a little more. I don't know if that's the case any longer.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they have to move on Oregon and Washington first, they'll do it.
Do you think that maybe the Big Ten could be talking to their current media partners, to sweeten the pot, to try to get a little bit more for Oregon and Washington, maybe telling NBC and CBS, we could be looking at bringing in an Amazon, something to where they can give Oregon and Washington a little bit more money?
Well, I think they're going to be sweetening the pot with the media deal to give the smaller schools a little bit more money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
The Indianas, the Purdues, the Northwesterns. Those
Yeah.
are the schools, as far as I've heard, that are still not high on Oregon. So
Yeah.
those are the schools that want to make sure that they're getting a little extra in their pot, too, which is why Oregon and Washington are going to have to take a little less
Yeah.
to make sure those schools
Yeah.
sign on the dotted line and give them the votes that they need.
And this is, we're Big Ten is playing the short game and the long game here, and there's some horse trading because there's Big Ten schools, well, all of them really, want to expand to the east. They're going to at a certain point. And of course, we've been reporting, peek around the corner, there are people in the Big Ten that says, well, if you're going to do that, we got to go west one more time. I think that's probably what's going on. Mona Vision, can I ask you a question? Have you heard about J.P. Morgan Chase with potentially being an equity partner, I don't know how you call it, with Florida State? Florida State is looking at that?
I had not heard about that, but that's very possible.
That's
JP
breaking.
Morgan Chase has their fingers.
That was breaking news about an hour ago. You might want to take a look at that. So things are really getting spicy.
Right. With the Florida State thing, too, I've heard things about the Florida State legislature would move forward and try and use sovereign immunity to get the Florida State out of the ACC grant of rights. Apparently, it has some legal precedent in college athletics before. We'll see where that goes. But I think that could be a thing that would let Florida State get into the Big Ten without that legal worry. But I'm going to get off here, Greg. I just want to give you a call real quick.
Thank you.
I'll hear some more after this afternoon, hopefully, and I'll let you know. But I wanted to give you a heads up, Greg. Here's a new thing for PATC. We have the cloak and dagger drinking game.
Yes.
From now on, at PATC, we eat the L's. We don't delete the L's. We eat the L's. We don't delete the L's.
We eat the L's. We don't delete the L's.
There you go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Mona Vision. Another very unique voice, very unique mind in the PATC community. Thank you, my brother, for calling. You might have to call us again later today.
Yeah, I might be calling in later today, but I'll let you know, Greg. But hey, catch me on Big 12 Mafia with Nate Brown from time to time.
Got
I'll
it.
go on there and make people upset as the honorary Big Homer.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Have a good day.
Movie Time Blues. I'm a Rutgers fan that supports Oregon and Washington. Unfortunately, I don't control the opinions of other fans and staff at the institution. Ted Adams. Let's consider this as well. The Big 12 offered Oregon, Washington would have been $45 million school payout. Don't think the Big 12 could have gotten that much money for Oregon and Washington.
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate is on the line. Holy smokes. The floor is yours. It's a roller coaster this morning. Hang on. It's a bumpy ride.
Greg, it's too early in the morning for this. I live out here. I am not prepared for this. I've only had one cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I was saying to some of the guys, you can look at a roller coaster. You can see it as you're walking towards it to go get on it for the first time.
Yeah.
You can see what it's going to be. It doesn't prepare you for that first ride.
Yes.
And that's what this morning feels like. I mean, you feel like, we see what's coming. We're good. It's all good. We'll be fine. And then this happens, and you're just kind of like, screw this ride.
Yeah.
You see national reporters like some of these guys, like one moment they're reporting one thing, and then 2 minutes later it shifts.
Yeah.
I feel really bad. Like this is bad on our end, but I feel bad for folks in the pack.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Really wild dude. And
yes.
having to go through this, and props to him for carrying the show for that moment. You might not have heard it, but he didn't drop a beat.
Well, I dropped an episode this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. I worked on it at 4 o'clock in the morning, Central Time. It was James Crepea, the great reporter out of Oregon, saying that Oregon is ready. They're going to say yes to a Big Ten invite. A couple hours later, this pops, and it's like, holy smokes, what happened? How did they fall in love with this Apple TV deal so quickly? What happened?
I don't know. Like, on one angle, I'm talking with CFB Plus. You see him in the crowd, like, you might be right. I might have to give it to you. And then, like, 5 minutes later, I'm like, hold on, maybe not.
Yeah.
Kind of having to hold on here and just kind of start trusting my predictions a little bit and see how this day plays out. It is the final deal of the Apple, right? And,
well, the thing is that, Phil Knight has been on this thing, trying to get Oregon into the Big Ten. There wasn't any love for that Apple TV deal that we heard. So it was just amazing that suddenly, but now there's reports that Washington still has concerns about it. I think this is going to still go the way we thought it was going to go. But man, oh man, the reporting this morning and the Michael Crow. I tell you, Michael Crow is something else. The president of Arizona State. The email that we got from the Arizona State Money Perch when this was breaking, I can't read it on air. They're about to have Michael Crow, if he doesn't do what the donors want him to do, there's going to be trouble at Arizona State.
to add a little bit of a funny allegory to that, the part of the ASU is the devil with the pitchfork, and if he doesn't watch himself, he's going to see some devils with pitchforks outside of his office here in Tempe. I mean, folks are going to start getting very angry.
Yeah.
I think a large portion of folks want out and they want to move on. I haven't seen anyone posting or talking or anything from the ASU side of things that saying we need to make the pack work. I think they get it. So
yeah.
for him to so visibly, right there in front of the world, just kind of play his cards out like that. Oof.
Yeah.
I gotta wonder who is advising that guy right now.
Okay, we're being told to look at James Creppe's last tweet. I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to post it. Give me a moment.
Yeah, I'll just say while you're doing that, if I'm anyone at Oregon State, I'm taking this opportunity right now. Sometimes when it's busy on Peak around the corner and you got another show to get to, you kind of have to hog the phone line, so to speak. Just sit there and call in over and over.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do with Brett Yormark. They
Yeah.
need to make sure no one else can talk to him except for Oregon State and say, hey, we're in right now, man.
James
We're in right now.
James Crepea just tweeted out, Oregon could have two options. Stay in the Pac-12 under extremely favorable circumstances that others might call a poison pill, or leave for the Big Ten now rather than later. Oregon is not as worried about the bottom line money of the Big Ten. Washington has greater budget issues, so Washington needs as much money out of the Big Ten right now. Oregon, in other words, I think what James Crepea is telling everybody, that the Pac-12 universities, probably Washington State, Oregon State, has bellied up to the bar and is willing to give Oregon, some of their money, right? So, but I think overall, I cannot see Oregon with that big brand of theirs that they have built over the last 2 decades, that they are going to be looking at putting their brand behind the Apple TV media deal. I just can't see it.
Interesting that he uses the term poison pill. So I'm taking it's a poison pill for all the rest.
Yes. Yep.
And that, it's almost like they're going in there to kill the deal then. To say, yeah, we'll stay if you give us this. Well, then everyone else is looking just going, well, then we're screwed either way because this is already a bad deal.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. I don't want to fool anyone, but it's a bad deal. It's bad visibility. The money's not as good as you're going to get the Big 12, but you're holding on to this for hopes that it helps you create something later or whatever. But
yeah,
I mean, every little bit that you're losing that Oregon is taking, it's going to hurt these athletic departments of these other schools.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, man. I just wanted to call in and
appreciate it.
kind of give that little tidbit here. I'm sure you got some others who got some feelings. So I'll talk to you again later. I'm sure this is going to be jumping all over the place.
Got it. Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great call.
Have a good day.
The pride of Michael Crow is astonishing. Crow is going to get the Stanford gig. That's all he really wants. Keep in mind, the Apple deal expires this week, i.e. today. Good point, CFB Plus. Unequal revenue sharing is death. It sounds like Oregon is being promised a whole lot of goodies from the other Pac-12 schools to keep the conference together. Dellinger. Thank you, Patrick. Baylor, Patrick. Dellinger, Oregon officials expressed further concerns about the Apple deal. Sources tell Yahoo Sports. Pac-12 now not expected to resolve Gore this morning. Reported at Big Ten meeting later. So once again, Oregon, Washington, and Big Ten, can they get that financial piece taken care of? Oregon and Washington know they're going to have to come in as a discount. Washington wants a little bit more money. Probably Oregon does as well. Can the Big Ten swing it? Can the Big Ten swing the votes? The Big Ten has to get your Illinois, your Northwestern, your Minnesota, your Maryland, your Rutgers, your Purdue, your Indiana. Got to get them all on board to sign off on this. They don't want their revenue, slice of revenue, to be diluted. These Big Ten schools have already budgeted their athletic departments 5 years down the road on the projections of what they're going to get in this new media deal. You suddenly can't take $5 million away from each of the schools. And the conversations that Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, who used to work for CBS, all these media companies, his experience, he's got to be on the phone, dialing his media partners, saying, we need just a little bit more juice. We need a little bit more money to make this happen. Don't you want Oregon and Washington on Big Ten football games, basketball games? Steve, Mr. Bearcat's in the house. What's going on? What is going on?
Well, I know from my life experiences, I don't want to take too many journalism people with me in a negotiation situation.
Yeah.
Everybody better calm down. Not that much has changed other than there was a meeting today.
Yep.
Most likely the meeting was, and they said the grant of rights. Well, how many times? We know what we know, and we know what we think we know.
Yep.
And we were told there was a grant of rights already signed. Obviously it wasn't. We all knew that. We all pretty much know, we don't know the exact numbers, we all pretty much know that the deal they have laying in front of them, not good. Now, with that being said, there's always somebody in negotiations at the last hour that wants to try to throw a wrench into things for whatever reasons. I still don't understand Arizona State's president's reasons for doing this, but whatever. But everybody just got to calm down. It's just it is what it is. Yeah, Washington wants another $10 million. Okay, I know Washington's athletic department's not in great shape right now, but if they want to go to the Big Ten and make 35 for a few years and then get full shares after that, let's amortize that $10 million for the next 7 years, $10 million per year. Okay, they'll make that back in a matter of 6 or 7 years. Okay, from where they are right now, which is actually limbo, for lack of a better word. Every Pac team is in limbo right now, from the point of Oregon State, Washington State are in limbo because they have no idea what's going to happen. They've got an inkling of what's going to happen because they're watching Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, Washington, Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
So Washington and Oregon, until the dotted lines are signed, or until the bottom line is signed, they're in limbo. Okay. Arizona and Arizona State, because of Arizona State's whatever world they're living in, they're in limbo. Utah's sitting out there watching it. They're in limbo. So this meeting this morning was nothing. It was nothing. The only way it was something, Greg, and this happened to me on a few occasions, was if the buyer comes in and just makes a huge they go up a third of what they have offered. So let's assume that it was $22 million. So Apple comes in overnight and says, now we're going to up everything by 33%. So now everybody in the pack, you're going to make 33 instead of 22. Could happen, most likely. That's a 5% chance of that ever happening. It would, if they increase it, it's not going to be increased that much. So everybody's just got to calm down. Nothing's changed other than
one of the things has changed. One thing has changed is the Big Ten did not have a call scheduled with their presidents today, but
Right.
it is scheduled. Pete Thamel is confirming other people's reporting, and it looks like they're going to have a call-in with Washington and Oregon that was not scheduled today. So some things have changed. Maybe Oregon and Washington, maybe they got a little bit of leverage here. Maybe they could eke out a little bit more money from the Big Ten.
Right. Well, I guess I didn't phrase it right. What I'm saying is within the Pac-9,
Okay.
nothing monetarily or exposure-wise changed. Okay?
Got
If
it.
it had, we'd have heard about it before this meeting started. This is why we're going into the meeting. We got better exposure. We got more money. We're going to be more competitive. We're going to work it out as 9 members and bring in another 1 or 2 or 3 members. If that was the case, we'd have known that.
Okay.
The when the alarms start sounding, and it's just people have to calm down. People have to step back and look at the big picture, and that's what bothers me with the journalism people. They want to be the first to scoop it. Okay, that's been there forever. New York Times always wanted to scoop, the Washington Post or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's been there forever. So take that with a grain of salt. When the negotiations are negotiations, that's pretty much been done unless one of the parties come in and want to change something on a major scale. Period.
All right.
That's just okay.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm a little bit disappointed in a lot of these people who are reporting things.
Got it.
So, all right.
Thank you,
care,
Mr.
Greg.
Bearcat. My brother, call again, sir.
I will.
Outstanding. Kirkpatrick, only Notre Dame gets multiple Big Ten invites. Yeah, they've gotten a lot of them. Woo!
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Ryan Thomas is on the line. Can you hold on 1 second, sir?
Sure, Greg. Sure.
1 second. Per the Monty Show, sources tell me the Pac-12 grant of rights has very little support in conference. 2 out of 9 as it stands. Okay, I thought I missed a donation. Doesn't look like I did. Ryan, what's going on? The floor is yours. We are on. Are we on a roller coaster, or
Yes.
has it been a flat train ride through South Dakota?
Well, let me start with this. This is high stakes poker. Washington State, Oregon State, Stanford, and Cal all have a lot to lose. And so does George Kliavkoff in his job. And, there are going to be lots of things happening, like using playoff money, reallocating playoff money and unequal revenue sharing. There are going to be a lot of things floated right now as a last-ditch effort. And, those presidents do have to do their due diligence and listen to it before they make their final decision. So, I fully well expect this to be a roller coaster just because, it's just so high stakes. I don't know if Oregon or Washington are just posturing to get a little bit more money for travel. I don't know if the Big Ten on their call today is going to acquiesce. I don't know if there's, vote issues. Moen Vision has a better insight into that than I do. In talking with him on the side, he said that, there's some rallying going on. So, I think things are very much fluid. But the one thing remains, though, is no Gore was signed this morning.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that deal was extended or the offer was extended, but at the end of the day, there's no clear linear partner. It's Apple. And, who was it? I can't remember, but I did see it was either McMurphy or Samuel or Dellinger that said something that Washington remains very skeptical of streaming.
Yeah, they both, Washington and Oregon, reports have said both are very very unsure, whatever, about the Apple TV deal.
Yeah, I mean, so what I expect right now, Greg, is I expect, the daggers have been out, but I expect some cloaks to come back on. And what I mean by that is, my understanding is I think Michael Crow apparently made the case that Arizona should be allowed to go on its own, which is kind of interesting because, he's really digging in his heels for ASU, and this could backfire spectacularly on Crow. But, I think the important thing to realize, though, is Oregon and Washington might intentionally make unreasonable demands on that score to the point where Arizona just says, they're gone. And at that point, if Arizona and Colorado were gone, I know some people think, I know Jim Williams said that the Big Ten wants to see, Arizona State and Arizona gone before it feels the legal exposure is less risky. But I would think Arizona and Colorado bolting would be sufficient, in my opinion.
I think so too.
So I think that there's going to be some cloak and dagger going on there, and then there's some other cloak and dagger too that I think could also happen. If you're Oregon State and you're being asked to make severe concessions, I know that there may not be steam on this, but keep in mind that Brett Yormark might also be coming in with a cloak and a dagger where he can basically, what if he comes in and just basically, offers Oregon State a spot, and then, maybe that jostles some things up as well. And Utah calls the Big 12 and says, yeah, we'll take that final spot or something to that effect. I think something could, we'll take that final spot along with Arizona, and all of a sudden Arizona State could be left out in the cold. And I think Michael Crow, it amazes me for someone that can be so talented in some areas, can be so inept in others. And I would remind people, Greg, there are three ways that you can get a person to turn against you. One, attack their religion. Two, attack their politics. And three, attack their sports. And for some people, their sports is their politics and religion. And, I think Michael Crow needs to be careful because there might be a lot of politicians and big-time donors at ASU who care about their sports, and he could be eroding any goodwill he's built up for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So I think that the theater has, this is like the scene on the musical, Greg, where you have 50 people on stage all performing unique different things, and we see Oregon and Washington singing the ballad on the stage, but you've got all these other players kind of doing things on the side. So this is going to be a high-stakes roller coaster. I don't think this is, a lot's at stake. And, those are just my thoughts. I could be wrong. I could be right. But, certainly I think that that's what's going to happen. But I know you've got a ton of callers. Yeah. Great show. I'm going to get off. And, thanks to everybody for your contributions, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate the great call. James Crepea doubling down on his report from last night. Ducks will go to the Big Ten when offered. We did an episode this morning. We released it at 6 o'clock Central Time this morning. It had to do with James Crepea's article saying that the Ducks, his sources are telling him the Ducks will say yes. We did an episode on it 2 hours later. After I released that episode, suddenly out of nowhere, the tide is turning, according to Nicole Auerbach from The Athletic and other people. And what about these reports about the Pac-12 and the ACC merger or some scheduling stuff? We saw it today. We've covered it. I've shown it to you. I don't understand how that can even be a possibility. We have spent, other than people calling, and which is fine, discussing it, which is fine. I've never done a monologue on it. I've never believed it's a possibility. It makes no logical sense. Why would Oregon and Washington get into a merger with the ACC and have to sign that grant of rights to 2036? And quite honestly, Florida State, Clemson, and probably a few other schools, they're not looking to expand the ACC. They're not looking to tie down themselves to a conference with more members. They're looking to get out They're looking for the exit sign. They're not looking for the entrance sign. There's no merger going on. Now, I get that Jim Phillips is probably trying to get something going. Some sort of alliance with the Pac-12. Some sort of scheduling. Yeah, let's offer the ACC network to the Pac-12 schools because they have no place to put their third-tier content. But it's late in the game. It's late in the game. As Yogi Berra said, it's getting late early today. So, come on. What happened to those reports? What happened to those reporters that put out those reports this morning? Again, a lot of people are putting chum in the water, trying to muddle the waters here as we're going to get some sort of decisions today. Brett Yormark wants a decision. Big Ten wants a decision. The media companies want decision today, Friday, August 4th.
Call from
Lewis, legendary caller, PATC. He's coming on in once again. What do you think? What's happening? Holy smokes.
Well, we've seen this before in 2010. I don't think Twitter was nearly as popular in 2010 when you had the famous about face with the Big 12 South and turning down the Pac-12. So I'm just going to make a couple points and get off. The first is that if Oregon is, and maybe Washington, it sounds like they might be posturing to get a sweeter deal on either side of the deal, but particularly to get some more money for the Big Ten. And the Big Ten may or may not provide the money. But I will say this, if they get a decent deal from the Big Ten and they turn down the deal to stay in the Pac-12, good luck getting it back into the Big Ten in a few years. So it would be a really risky decision for them to go down the road with the Big Ten and not take the deal. We've seen this before in other instances, so we'll see about that. Secondly, with the Pac-12 situation, the biggest problem is you have so many different wildly varied constituencies. So there are certain people that really need this deal to happen and are going to paint it and see it one way versus somebody else. So sources depend on who you're talking to. I think we saw that today as well. One person is going to say something else, but boy, what a crazy morning. For a while, it looked like it was going to be saved. Now it looks like perhaps it will not be. If it is saved and the Big 12 ends up with Colorado and Connecticut, that's not a terrible outcome for the WVU fans because it gets us another rival. But at the end of the day, I think at least three teams leave. I think Oregon and Washington will work out a financial deal with the Big Ten. They would be idiotic not to because the Big Ten, once you're there, you're in heaven of college football. If you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, that's where everybody else wants to be. You don't get to that door and walk away, or you really are making a huge mistake. So I think Arizona will leave as well. We'll see about the rest, Greg. Great show.
Got it. Beautiful. Lewis, thank you so much. Lewis, legendary PATC. Woo! Okay, let's get to these. Okay, first of all, now that I have a chance to breathe, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Please smash that like button if you're liking this content. We cover everything in college football during the football season. We're going to be covering everything. We're going to be on all day long on the Saturdays, all through the week. We're going to be giving our picks against the spread. We're going to be crying when we lose our teams. We're going to be celebrating when we win, so follow us along. We're going to be doing watch parties during the season. Now, if you want to make sure your comment gets talked about on this show, to do a deep dive into it, put a donation, hit the $sign, and we'll get your question or comment up as soon as possible. However, make sure you smash that like button. That is free. That helps our YouTube channel so much. We are growing this channel way past projections. The Little General and I want to thank you so very much to the PATC community. We were not expecting to go on this early morning. I want to give thanks to the Little General, the moderator, who had to cancel something very important to her so we could come on, and she helps take care of my parents. We want to thank Tim, who's coming on over today, my brother, to help us out because we got to be on live because things are going crazy. Pilgrim, have a good day, folks. No clue where it's going. The Sun Devils are currently out. Out where? I do not know. Let us know what you mean by that. Way to go, Little General. The Little General rules with an iron fist. Phone lines are open, 763-260-1333. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a legend with your phone calls and comments. Crazy morning. Crazy morning. 850 in the house that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway, Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Thank you so much for coming on in. Clemson, Florida State won out. They don't want to bring schools into the ACC conference. I just don't understand that logic at all. Jeff Kai's saying maybe Brett Yormark is telling Arizona State and Utah they have until midnight tonight, or Washington State, Oregon State are taking their spots. Game over. Jeff Kais thinks maybe Brett Yormark is ready to put the nails, give that leverage, give it a few torques, and see if they can get Arizona State and Utah to finally bounce into the Big 12. Looking forward to your Saturday streams. I got a 7-hour trip home, maybe game this fall. Sko Ducky. Okay, I'm gonna check some. My DMs are jam packed on Twitter. Gonna check those out. See if there's any breaking news. Holy smokes! Some Florida State stuff that we're not going to tackle right now. Okay, get to your comments, your phone calls. Immaculate, congratulations, Utah. You are no longer the villain in the eyes of the Big 12 fans. Congratulations, Arizona State. You are the new villain in the eyes of the Big 12 fans. As Money Perch, our Arizona Money Perch has been saying since January 31st, and we've been reporting to you all that Arizona State was of two minds. The Michael Crow mind, and the reality is that they were not comfortable with the projections that were being shown to them, no real offers, but Arizona State knew. They were not saying kumbaya to the Pac-12, the other Pac-12 presidents. Arizona State has been complaining behind the scenes about what is transpiring with George Kliavkoff in the leadership. They have not been happy. However, they did not want to leave the Pac-12. None of the schools did, but Arizona State in particular. Michael Crow, the president of Arizona State, you got to remember his history. He's been there for decades. He has been the leader of Arizona State. He has been one of the presidents, the longest serving Pac-12 president, the president who's been saying no, who's been voting no on potential Pac-12 expansion for years and years and years, saying no to expansion candidates in the Big 12. Why was he saying no? Because he believed those schools were not Pac-12 universities, not large enough research universities to deserve the invite to the Pac-12. Michael Crow has been saying no, 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 no. And suddenly, Arizona State is in a position that they might have to say yes to a Big 12 invitation. Arizona State might have to apply for the Big 12 conference because the Pac-12 is imploding. Michael Crow, above anybody else, and the Pac-12 presidents, he does not want to say yes to the Big 12. He's doing everything he can. Arizona, the Board of Regents that look over both Arizona State and the University of Arizona, they had a meeting last night. Arizona walked out of there prepared to accept a Big 12 invite to officially become a Big 12 member, but there's Arizona State. Michael Crow throwing up, muddying the waters, throwing chum in the water. Michael Crow once again, the guy who supported Larry Scott, the terrible leader of the Pac-12. For years and years and years, Michael Crow was his number one cheerleader. The destruction that Larry Scott put on the Pac-12 and those universities is well known. Now it's well known. And now Michael Crow is making it difficult for Arizona to leave the Pac-12 to the Big 12. Michael Crow is trying to hold everything up. Hopefully for Arizona State. Hopefully for Arizona State and the front porch of the university, their athletic department, their student athletes, their alumni, the fan base that goes, the donors that support Arizona State athletics, hopefully for Arizona State's sake, that Brett Yormark still has the Big 12 expansion door open for Arizona State. Hopefully Arizona State does not blow it. Let's get back to your comments, your phone calls.
Call from
CFB Plus.
CFB Plus. I couldn't quite hear you. If you can speak up a little bit. The floor is yours, good sir.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't really hear the stream. But first off, I want to say I appreciate you and your reporting. I know my position is a bit unpopular, and I understand the fact that if the Big Ten does invite Oregon and Washington, they're obviously gone. However, I'm just having a hard time understanding or coming to the belief that after a year of waiting with the Big Ten and the media partners knowing full well what could have happened, they haven't figured out that deal yet. And so in each report that comes out, it always says they want to add Oregon and Washington if the money works.
Yeah.
And if it's been a year and they haven't figured out how to make the money work, how long is it going to take for them to make the money work? And if they can't, then that leaves Oregon and Washington with limited options. And one of those options is one thing they don't want to admit, and that is the Big 12. So I just want your thoughts on that. Thank y'all. Thank you for the show, and I'll keep listening.
Got it. Thank you. That was a great call. Fantastic call. Please call back again. Why don't they have the money situation right? Well, because they got to go to their media partners, right? They got to go to their media partners. What does it look like now? What are projections? What would you pay for in Oregon and Washington? We've been saying this whole time that one of the hurdles was who was going to pay the freight. The money situation wasn't resolved this whole time. Now, the Monty Show and other people have been reporting it's all figured out. The money's figured out. No, it never was figured out. It was never figured out. They're trying to figure it out now. You can't. The networks, first of all, it's not in writing in the Big Ten media contract of how much the media companies would offer to pay for Oregon and Washington to come in. Only Notre Dame is specifically written in the media contract stating how much each Big Ten school and how much Notre Dame would get. So it was never settled. It was never settled. In the Big Ten media contract, it was stated that CBS, NBC would agree to do a good faith negotiations. And that's what they're doing right now. We are in a media recession. We're still in a media recession. The money isn't flowing. It still isn't. The spigot isn't open. So, here we are. The money's offered to Washington, Oregon. The other big, you got to get enough votes. So maybe that's the needle. We're talking about George Klikoff threading the needle. Tony Petitti's trying to thread the needle, trying to get enough votes on board for an Oregon-Washington expansion, making sure his other schools are not diluted with their revenue payouts, but yet enough to get Washington and Oregon on board. He's trying to thread the needle. The money is tight right now. Will they look at Amazon to come in? Will NBC and CBS say, okay, bring on Amazon? The other schools, the presidents say, okay, bring on Amazon. If they're willing to pay for a Friday night game, then then it opens up a little bit, right? But maybe they can't agree to that. So it doesn't surprise me that the money part isn't set. In fact, we've been saying that for months. That was one of the hurdles still left remaining for a near future Big Ten expansion with Washington and Oregon.
Call from
Kansas State fan.
Kansas State fan, can you hold 1 second?
Yes, of course.
I appreciate it. Just got to get caught up. Super chat. Brick Bat. Brick Bat, thank you so much for your super chat, for your generosity to the show. This is all short-sighted. If the total TV revenue pie is driven by eyeballs on the product, there are only so many TV channels and time slots for games to be put in front of those eyeballs. You're correct. There's only so many time slots, right? There's only so many media partners. Of course, streaming's going to start to kick in here in the next 10 years. But again, there's only so many eyeballs. You're correct, Brickbait. You got to bring up a good point. Thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate your generosity to the channel. Again, Brickbat continues on. Where advertisers are going to pay up for the content. Those dollars are going to dry up for even the top teams versus legacy marginal teams and flow towards top teams versus top teams. So what Brickbat is saying is we're going to see more consolidation and more consolidation. It's not going to be, who knows, we're going to be going into a super league. Maybe not all the Big Ten schools are safe 10, 15, 20 years from down the line. Maybe your Mississippi State are not safe in the SEC years down the line. There's going to be more consolidation. Could go down to a 32-team Super League. We shall see. We're not taking that off the table here at Peek Around the Corner. We don't believe that's going to happen anytime shortly. But realignment never, ever sleeps. These Super Leagues could fracture in the years ahead. We don't know. So, Brickbat, I appreciate your comments. I think they're well-spoken comments. I appreciate your generosity to the channel. Okay, sir, the floor is yours. Thanks for your patience. Appreciate it.
Well, I was kind of holding on for a second, but Pete Thamel just recently tweeted out, if you want to look this up right now, Washington and Oregon are fully engaged with the Big Ten. Things remain fluid, but it's trending that direction. This is reported by Pete Thamel of ESPN. But I do want to talk about what's kind of holding everything up, and that's got to be Arizona State's president and Michael Crow. The patterns were, it was trending, like the route we were all anticipating it to be. Arizona was expected to be joining the Big 12 by last night or this morning. Oregon and Washington, they're likely ending up with the Big 10. But I think just another thing you got to point out here is Arizona State's stubbornness, and particularly with Michael Crow. There's been a lot of people at Arizona State that have not been happy with what's been about what's been going on with the situation. He's been prioritizing academics first, and it's just not been fully panning out for his sakes. And I guess part of it, when you look back at the Board of Regents meeting, it's like as if he's okay with Arizona bolting, but he wants Arizona State to fully remain in the Pac-12. But at this point, I don't think the Board of Regents are allowing that as well. And I just went to look at another tweet, but that was 14 hours ago. But that just a quick phone call, and you are right. I mean, I think we are going to see the consolidation of powers here pretty soon, and sadly for my K-State Wildcats, it's likely going to be that's likely going to be the case here probably around 2036, especially when we see what's going to occur with the ACC. Maybe the Big 12 plays as like the third power conference when you bring in the likes of Louisville, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, maybe Virginia Tech, but boy, the Pac-12 is already seeing death at its front door.
Yep.
ACC is the ACC. They're starting to get the notice, and maybe those rumors are true as well with the potential ACC Pac-12 alliance, because I mean Jim Phillips and the ACC know, hey, this is kind of our signal for what's to come in the near future, but. I'm just going to leave it as that. I got to do a lot of catching up on this story. But, Greg, thanks for all what you've done, especially over the last few days where it seems like news was like nonstop, and you've been putting in the hard work. Appreciate for all you've done, and God bless.
I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless to you. Appreciate that phone call. All right. I got a tweet up here. Pete Thamel. Sources, Washington and Oregon are fully engaged with the Big Ten. Things remain fluid, but are trending in that direction. So we're going to continue to follow this today. Washington and Oregon fully engaged with the Big Ten. There is interest, of course. Big Ten, we all think we know what the offer was from the Big Ten because there have been reports on it, but has there been a real, true, concrete offer? Maybe the Big Ten is calling their media partners. There's a lot of people involved in this, right? A lot of people involved in this, including the Big Ten current media partners. They're involved in negotiations. Jasper is on the line. The floor is yours, good sir.
Hi. So, after Brett McMurphy's tweet about the Pac-12 grant of rights apparently potentially being signed, he kind of walked it back right here. He said Pac-12 unable to get grant of rights signed this morning, and nothing has changed, quote, as far as Oregon and Washington joining Big Ten, sources told Action Network. Ducks and Huskies still expected to be Big Ten bound when finances are worked out, sources said.
Oh, I don't think anybody reported that the grant of rights, has been signed. I think
they didn't. They reported that the
momentum
may stay together and sign grant of rights.
Sure. Yeah, the momentum. Maybe things have turned. Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like we're going down the road that we thought we were going to go down, but we'll see. We'll see. Things aren't over until they are over. But I think we're going to have decisions today because the media companies are demanding them. That they have been buttressing Brett Yormark's leverage with those Pac-12 Four Corners schools. The networks are letting everybody know we got to get this settled. We got to figure this out.
Yeah, it does look like everything's coming to a head.
Yep. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Beautiful call. Thank you, sir. Call again. Appreciate it. Thank you for your super chat, Ryan Thomas. Roller coasters are going to roll, Greg.
Call from
Bob.
Okay, I did not catch the name. Who's on the line?
Hey, Greg, it's Bob in Connecticut.
Okay, the floor is yours. Go ahead. What's going on? What do you think's going to happen?
I think I was in the car listening to Sirius most of the time this morning through the premature the funeral, and then the not the funeral, they're alive. I think what's going on is this is just plain old negotiation. Oregon probably leading it, and they're negotiating both sides, Big Ten and the Pac-12.
Playing one off each other, correct?
That's it. That's
Yep.
it. But what's get ready for another day or two of possible back and forth. You have a very powerful partner on the Pac-12 side in Apple. I mean, look at the market cap. They throw around this $20 million figure. If they want to play here, they are one of the most wealthiest. They're Saudi Arabia. So there is this Big Ten is they're in a spot too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Marylands and the lesser teams of the Big Ten that have reduced shares for many, many years, they're not going to be real happy about giving them a full share, more than a full share, et cetera. So it's going to get interesting. I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully, I'm praying that we all know more by the end of the day than we did at the start of the day. Okay? Hopefully that happens. Am I asking too much for that?
Yeah, I hear you. I'd like to see you kind of get a bid, but then it's kind of, it's like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see.
They were looking good, but it's all. I think the wild card could be Apple here. They're not going to. They're just. They can't. They don't want to lose. They're not going to lose.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right.
But let's keep up the good work.
Great. Appreciate it.
Show.
Great call. Thank you, Connecticut.
I was going between you on Sirius with Chris and Neuheisel.
Yes.
Great show they have.
Yep.
And they went to commercial. I slipped on your YouTube, so
Thank
that's
you.
your competition.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Oregon Duck 90. I still keep coming back to Greg's original point of not leaving USC, UCLA on an island on the West Coast. Big Ten filling in some travel partners with Oregon and Washington, solidifying the Western contingent. But even more important than that, I see national reporters saying, why Oregon? Why Washington? Why now? Because the answer is everybody in the Big Ten, including Fox Sports especially, and CBS and NBC, now that they're Big Ten media partners, but especially Fox Sports and all the universities. They want to expand to the east, to the southeast, and to do so, they're going to have to go west once again. So the question is not if they were going to expand to the west. The question was when. When is it best when it comes to cost-benefit analysis for the Big Ten? Were they going to be able to get their opportunity to expand with an Oregon, Washington at this time? Kevin Warren left. Pac-12 gets cracked open by the Big 12. Now we're in that last part. Is there money? Somebody going to pay the freight for Oregon and Washington? This is the last hurdle. This is the last hurdle for near future, right now, Big Ten expansion. 5 months from now or 5 years from now. We've been talking about this every day at Peek Around the Corner. We've never flip-flopped. We've been consistent. We had the intel. We reported to you all. It's always been Washington, Oregon after UCLA and USC. Of course, Notre Dame, which doesn't look like they're coming on board yet. And there's one more thing I want to point out. You know what? I failed to say this. This hasn't been reported. This hasn't been talked about anywhere else. Smash that like button. And I was going to bring it up early on, and I failed to do so. Look, whatever number Oregon and Washington is going to get, this is important. Whatever number Oregon and Washington is going to get from a revenue standpoint with the Big Ten, with a little bit of escalators going on for the next year, 6 years, with the Big Ten network and all that. Remember this, according to the Big Ten media contract, if Notre Dame jumps in and becomes the 19th member of the Big Ten Conference, if Notre Dame can't quite get that NBC deal, that they need to be competitive at the highest level. If SEC goes ahead and expands after the Big Ten, if the ACC implodes and Notre Dame needs a home and they join the Big Ten, everybody in the Big Ten, those schools make more money than they currently are right now, even out of the new Big Ten contract. And that would include Oregon and Washington. So, Oregon and Washington, you have what you call the 6-year Irish wild card in this situation. Now, is Notre Dame going to jump? We think they're going to here at Peek Around the Corner. We think they're going to have to. We think the walls are closing in. I know a lot of people in the chat disagree with me. That's fine. That's great. That's how this makes this show go. But if Notre Dame jumps to the Big Ten after Oregon and Washington crash through the Big Ten expansion door, that benefits the Ducks and the Huskies. And that's something that they're going to have to evaluate during this process. I think that's something that the PATC community should be aware of. Let's get back to your comments. Let's get back to your comments and phone calls. It's coming, Ron Lowney. No, Greg, they're stuck for like 6 years with partial money. No, that is not true. Oh, of course they are with partial money, but that partial money will get elevated with a Notre Dame entry into the conference if it happens. We're going to have to agree to disagree, AAR. Well, last night, what were they doing? Conundrum. Arizona State are still on track to join the Big 12. Arizona President Michael Crow is proving to be a stumbling block, but parties involved are confident it can be overcome. Jason Scheer. Just take a look at that. Arizona State and Arizona, the parties, the people, the Big 12, the people around Arizona State, but not including Michael Crow, and the people at Arizona, believes that this is going to happen. Arizona State and Arizona, despite the president, Michael Crow, the stumbling block of Michael Crow, the president of the university, the president who's been around there for decades, is the stumbling block for Arizona State. Arizona State. Holy smokes. Unbelievable. Corey Belt, entertaining show. Thank you so much. Sources tell us Nebraska is taking the lead in negotiations to add Oregon and Washington. Okay. All right. Scott Stevens, Washington's travel expenses would increase exponentially if they had to pay airfare for all their teams to visit remote Big Ten cities. One of the advantages the Big Ten has is their universities, most of them are close to big cities. Easy entrance into the cities. But yes, Washington's air travel is going to increase. Hopefully the Big Ten can regionalize their sports, their non-revenue sports. Make the Oregon, Washington, UCLA and USC, those teams play each other more often. Regionalize the non-revenue sports, and years down the line, maybe there will be another edition on the West Coast from the Big Ten. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Travel expenses does come along with a national conference, with national exposure for the University of Washington. They're going to have to balance it out. Travel expenses go up, but Washington's brand, research, exposure, especially for the front porch of the university, also goes up. The Washington's going to have to measure that out, make the right decision for themselves. Ryan, think the Pac-12 is dead, or the Pac is dead. The huge story is Florida State gearing up for a battle. That is fascinating. Yes, we haven't. We touched upon it a little bit. Reports Florida State possibly being in talks with J.B. Morgan Chase becoming a possible equity partner. Florida State. Florida State is building that war chest, right? That's what the reports are. The Seminoles are building that war chest because they're going to need it to either have a settlement with the ACC or go to court and get a settlement from the ACC. And we've talked about it here at Peek Around the Corner. That money at first was going to have to come from outside the university. It wasn't going to come from the general funds. It either was going to be donor-based, and now this is the other option, an equity firm. JP Morgan Chase, big time bank, big time money industry, JP Morgan Chase. Wow. That is a story that is about to explode. And if that's the case, Florida State peeling off some of their, I don't know what you would call it, equity. Give it to JP Morgan Chase. They get bankrolled to get out of the ACC. And then, well, I don't know, for the next 50 years, 100 years, JP Morgan Chase has a little bit of equity in Florida State athletic programs and maybe some other stuff, maybe some research program. Who knows how far it would go. Now, we just got the first reports today of this, but we're going to be covering that story at Peek Around the Corner. That could be a major story. Florida State, they are serious smoke in their attempt to get out of the ACC. Are they going to file a notice of withdrawal by August 15th? Remember, Florida State, to become a member of another conference by July 1st, 2024. According to the ACC bylaws, Florida State needs to file a withdrawal notice to the ACC commissioner and give that notice to all the ACC presidents. All the other presidents, all the other 14 presidents, including Notre Dame. Is that going to happen before August 15th? Give us a call. Let us know. Let us know, Seminoles. Let us know, fans out there. Let's get back to your comments. Florida State Seminoles are loaded. Would love to see Dabo meet the Saudi prince. Holy smokes. And beg for money. You know what? I made a mistake here. I forgot to... Bill G, I apologize. Thanks for staying with this. Great work. Thank you, Bill G. Thank you for your generosity, your super chat. Thank you so very much for your ongoing generosity. David Hackett, thank you for your ongoing generosity to this independent college football YouTube channel. Greg, doesn't the PAC conference use their championship game in 2024 with only 6 members? Also, lose the, yes, I mean, yeah, I think so, David. If things go the way we think they're going to go, but, you know, we're already on a roller coaster this morning with the Arizona schools and Utah leaving and Washington and Oregon leaving. I don't think the Pac-12 exists anymore. I think Washington State and Oregon State are going to have to enter into the Mountain West, and I'm not sure what happens with California and California Berkeley. I do not see the media companies supporting Washington State and Oregon State in trying to backfill that Pac-12 conference and say, hey, we're the Pac-12, we're still Autonomy 5. We're going to backfill it with San Diego State, Boise State, you know, and then call it Pac-12 and still have Autonomy 5 with the other 4 power conferences. I don't see it happening. I don't even think there's a chance anymore of that happening. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see, and I'll take the L on it. I think if things go the way they go, I think we're going to go from 10 FBS conferences to 9 FBS conferences. And like I said on last night's show, if we go down to 9 FBS conferences, imagine this. The college football playoffs for 2024 and 2025, the expanded playoffs. The rules are, and they're not going to change, the rules are 12 teams, six automatic berths, 6 conference champions. The 6 top-ranked conference champions get an automatic berth. If you're down to 9 FBS conferences, and 4 of them are the autonomy conferences, the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10, for 2024, for 2025, you're going to get at least 2 G5 champions, or at least 2 G5 schools in the expanded playoffs, and potentially maybe a third, and a large bid, probably not. So 2024, 2025, the expanded playoffs, if the Pac-12 implodes, we're going to get 2 G5, at least 2 G5 conference champions in the playoffs. Conference USA, Mountain West, Sun Belt, MAC. I'm missing somebody. I forgot the other G5 conference. Out of those 5 G5 conferences, 2 of them will go to the expanded playoffs. And then I think things are going to change again in 2026 playoffs. Autonomy status is granted by the NCAA. Thank you, AMAC. Appreciate that comment. Tom Osborne, the legendary Nebraska coach. Super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity, Mr. Osborne. PACINO conference. Pack in name only. I'm not even sure there's going to be a pack in name only. I think the Mountain West is going to grow. They have 12-member football conference. Hawaii is the 12th, football only. So I think they're going to grow to at least 14 members of the Mountain West with Oregon State and Washington State. That's how I see things going. Again, things are fluid. Greg, I do think they file an ACC withdrawal before this August 15th. That's goal nose, FSU. Thanks for coming in the chat. I tell you what, Florida State has done a lot of work behind the scenes. We get this JP Morgan Chase story coming out. We had the Board of Regents meeting that was fascinating on August 2nd. Holy smokes, 2 days ago. The day before that, we had the chair, Peter Collins, talking about it. Watch that interview with Peter Collins with War Chant. Holy smokes, once again. He's alluding to the fact that, you know what, the Gore, we got a handle on the grant of rights, where that's not the document that's going to hold us back. They've done a lot of work. They've said a lot of things out in public. So for them not to pull the trigger before August 15th, you only can do this brinkmanship one time. You only can play this leverage game one time. So Florida State, are you serious about withdrawing before August 15th? We're going to find out pretty soon. A lot of Seminole fans, the vast majority of Seminole fans, the passionate ones, believe, yes, Florida State is going to withdraw from the ACC by August 15th.
Call from
Kansas State fan again.
Kansas State fan again. Thanks for calling again. The floor is yours again.
Again, yeah, my apologies. I just have to bring something up. I was going to bring it up on the first call, but I was wondering what would happen with the remnants of the Pac-12 in the Mountain West. I see 2 scenarios playing out here. So I think either the Pac-12 at this point just either completely dissolves, and I see the likes of Oregon State, Washington State, and Cal going to the Mountain West, while Stanford, with the amount of endowment money they have, I believe that they could probably go alongside Notre Dame and go independent. So I see that as a possibility. I mean, I think the Mountain West would be at 15 members, and you could probably throw in a New Mexico State or UTEP to round up the 16-team conference. But maybe if those 4 Pac-12 schools remain while everyone else bolts, I mean, I believe they do have the technical anatomy 5 status, if I'm correct. That's under the NCAA bylaws. So maybe they're able to gobble up the rest of the Mountain West and poach schools like San Diego State, Fresno State, Boise State. Who else am I thinking of? Colorado State, Utah State, several of those options. And then the Mountain West can pretty much backfill with Summit League teams or Big Sky teams.
I don't see it happening. I
see
the Pac-12 completely disappearing. I think the Mountain West. I don't think the networks. I don't think the networks are going to say, "Hey, you're a Pac-12." The Mountain West already has their TV deal in place until at least 2025 or 26. It's going to be a lot easier to incorporate Washington State and Oregon State into the Fox and CBS Sports. I think Mountain West is going to come out ahead on this, and I think we're going to see the Pac-12 disappear. We have a report from Dennis Dodd, Michael Crow, dragging feet, a stare down of sorts right now. Michael Crow, once again, he's become the story of this morning. Yeah, that's my answer to that question. I really think the Pac-12 disappears once Michael Crow stops dragging his feet.
Yeah, I'm not surprised one bit that it's Michael Crow that just continues to put Arizona State down under. No pun intended as well. But I don't know. I'm still concerned about Cal and Stanford. Because if those 2 schools don't get the nod to join the Big Ten, and those are fantastic schools when it comes to education, I just think, Stanford with. I just keep bringing up the endowment money, just the overall status as a school. I think they kind of fit into the Notre Dame category. They might not have the overall branding as Notre Dame, but I think they could probably get in their own in terms of playing independent football and maybe join the West Coast Conference for basketball. And I'd probably have to put Cal into the lumps of Oregon State and Washington State as well. And I forgot to point this out as well. I believe the NCAA Division I Council, they're doing some, I believe they're increasing the cost for FCS schools to move up to the FBS, mainly because of how much the FBS is growing to a point where they need to kind of limit that a little bit as well. All righty. I think that might be.
Great call.
I think Pete Thamel came out with a tweet. Hold on one second.
Got
Pete Thamel come out with. I'll look at that. But
okay.
Thanks for again. Have a good day and God bless.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Call from
Greg Graves.
Greg, the floor is yours. What's going on?
Hey, first off, Greg, great show. I've been watching you for months. Love everything you do. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you very much.
Hey, just wanted to add a couple points to what you're saying for all those that think that the remaining Pac teams could add a few teams. What everybody's forgetting, it's not just San Diego State that has to pay $34 million to exit. It would be Boise State. It would be every team. So you're talking about $150 million to add 5 teams from the Mountain West, and who's going to cover that? They definitely do not have those kind of budgets.
Yeah.
So
people in the chat keeps talking about Thamel's new tweet. I don't see a Peter Thamel's new tweet. The last one he had was sources: Washington and Oregon are fully engaged with the Big Ten. Things remain fluid. We've gone over that. I do not see a new tweet. Let me know if I'm wrong. Sorry, caller. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, the other interesting thing is, having lived in Utah and then moving out to Florida, it is interesting, the West Coast, media-wise, the opinions they share are sometimes not based in reality. It seems to be compared to where the population base is and the majority of eyeballs in college football. And so I think that's where a lot of fans need to understand that the Pac-12 is coming from not near the coverage and not near the I guess, media people that tell them the truth, because they're living with a fan base that's only a few million versus the multiple millions on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting to watch, you know, the missteps by everybody west of the Mississippi for the most part.
Yes, yeah.
So anyway, appreciate you. Keep up the great work.
Beautiful. Thanks. I appreciate you. Appreciate your phone call. Please call again, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
I don't know. Chili dude in the chat is saying them on ESPN Live now reporting Oregon, Washington, Arizona State are gone. If anybody can confirm that, I appreciate it. He hasn't said anything on Twitter. You'd think he would say it on Twitter. That's correct.
Call from
Badger Maniac in enemy territory.
Badger Mania? Holy smokes. What's going on in this world? The floor is yours, good sir.
So just to be clear, it's Badger Maniac in enemy territory. I'm here in Minnesota with you, Greg.
Oh. Badger Maniac in enemy territory. So you're a Badger fan who lives in Minnesota.
Correct.
Unfortunately, we have a lot of Badger fans living in the great state of Minnesota. The floor is yours.
No, I fly my Badger flag on every Saturday football day, and every single Badger men's basketball day. So, my neighbors are big fans of me. I see them at the grocery store, and, they give me some grief. But anyways, besides the point, love your show. You do a fantastic job. You're doing an amazing service for all of us. So that's number one. Thank you. Number two, I'm kind of a conference realignment junkie. I do a lot of thinking about this. And, I think there's some misconceptions about Stanford. Stanford on its own is not getting into the Big Ten. And I don't think that Stanford and Cal are getting into the Big Ten. San Francisco is a relatively, although it's a massive media market, those two schools don't turn the needle. They don't. Their fan bases are pathetic. People in San Francisco are not tuning in to college football to watch those two. However, this is the deal. Stanford always has an invite to the Big Ten, but it is dependent on Notre Dame. And the end game here with all of this is to get Notre Dame. So Stanford will, and I think this is possibly a reason why they are seemingly dragging their feet on this. They're not reaching out to the Big 12. They're not talking to the Big 10 because they know that they can always get into the Big 10 if Notre Dame gets into the Big 10. Because I think a condition on Notre Dame possibly coming to the Big 10, and this may not be this year, next year, this may be 5-10 years down the line, I don't know. But Stanford is obviously a rival of Notre Dame. They play every single year. And if Notre Dame comes to the Big Ten, I think they're going to say we're taking Stanford with us so that we can retain that annual rivalry. Mm-hmm. So I do see Stanford in the Big Ten. I see them in the Big Ten with Notre Dame. When that happens, I don't know. I think the wild card is that Notre Dame is going to have to make a decision. Are they going to join the Big Ten or are they going to join the SEC at some point in the future? I think that they, selfishly, I think that they have a lot of pride. I don't think that they want to come to the Big Ten. I think that it's a knock on their ego, so to speak. However, I think when the chips are down and they really think about it and they swallow that pride, they're going to look at those annual rivalries and how do they retain them. They're going to have, and not all of these are annual, but they are rivalries. They've got Michigan. They may have Stanford. They've got Michigan State. They've got Purdue. And it just makes too much sense from a scheduling perspective not to be in the same conference as them. If they move to the SEC, for example, those are probably realistically, that then when you talk about, their games with the military academies, things like that, those just are not going to. Also, USC, think about that rivalry. Those rivalry games are just not going to, logically be able to occur. So, bottom line, Stanford will be in the Big Ten. And they will be in the Big Ten when Notre Dame comes in, and those two will be a package deal. When that happens, I don't know. That's all I got for you.
Badger Maniac.
Yes.
I used to say the exact same thing, but I just can't go there anymore for a couple reasons. That Stanford would go to the Big Ten automatically if Notre Dame goes to the Big Ten. First of all, we are in the era of NIL. Stanford has not embraced yet the world of NIL, and I'm not sure Stanford is committed to what is going to happen, the changes of college football, where the Big Ten Conference and its schools are going to have direct payments to the student athletes. That's going to come down here in the next 5-10 years. A couple other things. I'm not sure that Notre Dame, Notre Dame, one of the reasons why they have Stanford, or usually have Stanford on the schedule, and USC, because Notre Dame wanted to make sure that they played in the state of California once every year. They have a lot of Notre Dame supporters in the city of Los Angeles. With UCLA and USC both in the Big Ten, maybe Stanford is not quite as needed. And the other thing is, I think for Stanford, if they perceive this as Notre Dame is out there, if they join the Big Ten and they will grease the skids, we have breaking news. We have breaking news.
Okay.
We have breaking news. Let me post it. Hold on, everybody. I apologize, the Maniac, Badger Maniac.
It's all good. Just tell me what the breaking news is.
You know what? Because I'm a
line.
gopher, because I'm a gopher and I'm not that intelligent, it takes me a while to get things set up here. Brett McMurphy, breaking news. Oregon, Washington, joining the Big Ten, becoming the latest schools to leave the Pac-12, putting the Pac-12 future in doubt. Sources told Action Network. We have breaking news. Maniac, Badger Maniac, I'm going to hang up the call with you right now, okay?
Sounds great. Thanks, Greg.
Call us again. I apologize. Hold on, everybody.
All good.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. We're gonna close the line a second here. We're gonna get back to phone calls. We're gonna get back to your phone calls. We have breaking news. Breaking news. Brett McMurphy, Oregon, Washington, joining the Big Ten, becoming the latest schools to lead the Pac-12, putting the Pac-12 future in doubt. There are the three eye emojis. Once again, we're going to pop this baby up. Again, I have the phone lines closed. We're going to take your phone calls soon after we get through this article. Brett McMurphy, the great Brett McMurphy Action Network. Let me get this a little bit bigger so people can read it on your iPhones, on your television screens. The Big Ten is getting even bigger, with Oregon and Washington becoming the latest schools to join the conference from the Pac-12 starting in 2024. So Big Ten, you got to rip up those schedules. The Gophers might not be playing at Pasadena in the Rose Bowl for the first time since 1962 because maybe the Gophers aren't going to be playing the Bruins. The departure, back to the article, the departure of the Ducks and Huskies increases the number of schools leaving the Pac-12 in the past 13 months to 5. Oregon, Washington, Colorado, USC, and UCLA, and could be the fatal blow to the Pac-12. We said it last night on the live show. We had an episode yesterday at Peek Around the Corner. The death blow to the Pac-12 will happen Friday, August 4th, and it looks like it just happened. It looks like Oregon and Washington and the Big Ten did not wait for the mess in Arizona to clean itself up. They did not wait for Michael Crow. They were tired of the dragging of the feet. The Big Ten will grow to 18 members, the largest in college football history, and must decide whether to expand even further. The Big Ten is contemplating whether to stand at 18 or consider adding Stanford and California. And here is the money shot. Here is the money shot, the PATC money shot of Brett McMurphy's updated post, August 4th. It just happened 6 minutes ago. Or possibly, any ACC schools that may leave, sources said. Oregon and Washington will not immediately receive full shares in the Big Ten new media rights deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC, but will still take more money than they would have by remaining with the Pac-12. Here we go. We got more stuff. Listen up, PATC community. Action Network, Brett McMurphy, just breaking news. With additional schools leaving the Pac-12, the Mountain West would be open to adding remaining Pac-12 schools to the league. Sources told Action Network. This is a big day for the Mountain West. This is a big day for the Mountain West. The Mountain West currently has linear television deal with Fox and CBS Sports, with additional games on CBS through the 2025 season. Another possibility for the Mountain West, depending on how many schools remain in the Pac-12, could be a merger of some type between the two leagues. A merger. A merger. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Would California and Stanford be willing to merge the 4-team Pac-12 with the Mountain West? This is getting juicy, ladies and gentlemen. Late August, Action Network reported Oregon and Washington met with Big Ten officials about potential membership. Oregon met with Big Ten officials in Chicago, while Washington met with Big Ten officials in New York. Both schools have been vetted and cleared to join the Big Ten for more than a year. The financial details could be worked out between the schools, the Big Ten, and the Big Ten television partners. There was no more research information needed. Oregon and Washington, we know the rest of the story. We know the rest of the story. Breaking news, it happened. Now, I am going to try to put up, hold on everybody, we're going to get to your phone calls in a second. The phone lines are closed at this moment. The phone lines are closed at this moment. The phone lines are closed at this moment. Pete Thamel. Sources. While there had been some initial pushback, the Big Ten vote is expected to be unanimous. First signature move by Tony Petitti's stint as the Big Ten commissioner is on the cusp. Big Ten expected to move ahead with formal offer letters for Oregon and Washington. A Big Ten vote is expected to take place later today to formalize their admission, barring any last-minute snags. It is happening, ladies and gentlemen. Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten. Peek around the corner. We've been saying this since the entirety of our YouTube football channel. We said this before USC and UCLA were announced to go to the Big Ten June 2022. Oregon and Washington has always had the interest of the Big Ten presidents. No, it wasn't just Kevin Warren. And more importantly, Fox Sports has always wanted Washington and Oregon to the Big Ten. We reported to you that over and over and over again. And internally in the Big Ten, everybody in the Big Ten wants to expand one more time out to the southeast, out to the east. And they needed to expand west once again to be able to expand east. And I hopefully some national college football reporters, besides the great Brett McMurphy, finally understands this concept. Big Ten had to go west again to go east where they really want to go. And you saw the Brett McMurphy's article saying that ACC, Big Ten, waiting to see what happens in the ACC. Holy smokes. Let's not waste any more time. Let's not waste any more time. The phone lines are back open again. The number is 763-260-1333. We have breaking news. It's done. It is done. It is done. McMurphy and Thamos says it's done. It is done. Turk Glazebrook. Holy smokes.
Call from
ABO Prep Course 1.
Soap, you're on the line, correct?
Yes, thank you.
I need to put you on hold for 1 second.
Sure, absolutely.
Hold on 1 second. Turk Glazebrook. An enormous, generous super chat. The little general and I thank you so very much. With you since the beginning, Greg. Love the inaugural year of PATC. Lurker and Big Ten fan. Continue the excellent work for your second year. Go Illini. Thank you, Fighting Illini, Turk. I appreciate your enormous, incredible generosity to this channel. Please get in the chat room. Please come in with your comments. Please call. And please, Bert Bielema, you're 2-0 against PJ Fleck. Please go 2-1 after this year. Thank you. Thank you for your super chat. Holy smokes. Wow. One more super chat coming on in. R Webb, thank you again for your continued generosity to this channel. A 4-pack Mountain West Conference merger under the Pac-12 flag avoids exit fees while retaining the Pac's A5 status. I don't know about that. I don't know if it keeps the A5 status. Look, if it does, the Mountain West schools, they'll go to the Pac-12. They'll figure out their TV. I don't think so. You know what, though? R. Webb, my brother, I don't know the answer. My assumption, my guess is Mountain West is going to bring those schools on. But a merger, Pac-12, we're going to see. It's going to be fascinating. Stick with us here at Peek Around the Corner. We'll see what happens. Soap, thank you so much for your patience. The floor is yours. What do you got to say, sir?
Well, Greg, I wanted to be the first to call and congratulate you. That's why I'm calling. This has been your story, along with the breaking of USC and UCLA going. I know that you sat on a lot of information to protect your sources, but you still kept us involved. This is a highlight for you. I'm going to start referring to you as Walter White because you're selling crack to all of us, enthusiasts down here. This is we can't control ourselves with the stuff that you're putting out there. But I just wanted to take this second and congratulate you, sir. Say you did a fine job, and it's been a pleasure to follow you. That was the reason for my call.
Oh.
You need to take your victory lap. You get the W.
Thank you, sir. I got a W. I got a W.
You got a W. You're no longer the cooler.
No, I'm still Greg the Cooler. That has to do with my plays against the spread. I have got to get rid of the Greg the Cooler name. I've got to get some games right against the spread. We're not going to talk about how low my winning percentage was last year. We're going to forget about last year. 2023 is a new year. I want everybody to take my picks against the spread seriously this year because I'm going to turn it around. How about that, Soap?
There you go. Hey, I'm going to leave you with this. We were talking the other day about relegation. You asked me a question. I didn't answer it properly. You asked about little teams in the lower division. They wouldn't go for the fact that they were in a lower division. Well, if a team were in a lower division like University of Houston and they went undefeated in a lower division, they're going to get a invitation to the playoffs, and I guarantee they're going to get one of the at-large invitations. And it's going to be easier for a team in the lower division who has a breakout year to put up a better a better record than they do in the upper division. So I think you're going to see divisions being segregated, whether they're relegated or not, but they're going to be segregated by previous, strength of schedule from the previous year, that type of thing. So once again, Greg, I'd not to take away from it. Congratulations, my friend. Fabulous work. It's a pleasure following you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Call again, Soap. Thank you very much. Wow, we got so much stuff to talk about. We've been on the air for 2 hours, but we're not getting off the air because we've got so much to talk about. So much to talk about. Go Black 45. Now, how can the Arizona Board of Regents get rid of Crow Whitcos? I don't know, man. That's a crazy story.
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Hey, Ryan, can you hold on a second? I got a lot of cleaning up to do.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your patience. I don't know, man. Go Black. I don't know. I don't know what the answer. I don't know what the answer is to Michael Crow. I don't even know the questions anymore. That's a story. That's a whole nother story off this saga. Thank you for your super chat. Appreciate it. Nathan, I appreciate your super chat to the show. Just a little thank you for leading all of us to Realignment Promised Land over the past year. I appreciate Nathan. I appreciate all the kind words. I'm reading them in the chat. I just can't get to them. Greg, don't you need a bathroom break? We'll get there. We'll get there. Mark Rucker, Flugar, thank you all for the wonderful comments. Keep it growing. Keep it going, Greg. Marathon session. Michael Crow is a joke. Greg the Furnace. I don't know about that. Washington versus Wisconsin for the W Bowl. Jesse Wilson coming on in. Great move, Oregon and Washington. I agree. Great call. Congrats, Mr. Flugar. I appreciate it. You guys are being way too kind. Greg the rock star. Greg does not sing well enough to be a rock star. Everybody in the PATC community knows that for a fact. Receipts have been printed and filed. I think I've given up on the receipts because people who are receiving them don't have a clue. I don't even think they have a clue. I won't go there. I won't go there. Okay, Ryan, the floor is yours. What are you thinking?
Well, all I have to say is Puxatawny Phil better move over because the prophetic gopher is taking his place. Great job, Greg. It's been almost a year, and the drama and how this played out. Just wanted to give you total kudos for the professional job that you've done. I know that you've had, some people that like to use charts and graphs and smiley face emojis, say all sorts of nasty things like, and act like Norman Bates and his mother. But, you have come out and, been true to your sources and had integrity with them and also been honest with us. And, I think that's, I think you really kind of, I think the story when it's told, when this is all told, is really the emergence of kind of Rebel Outpost YouTube channels, whether it's the Big 12 Mafia or you or other shows that are emerging, and just sort of, fans coming together and being able to really kind of get, that extra content that we all crave, because we all crave it because we're junkies. Yeah. But, I just wanted to tell you thank you, and also, I hope ASU realizes that it just played itself into a partial share, but because they don't have anywhere to go at this point. Great job on the show.
Thank you.
Prophetic gopher. So if Greg the Furnace or heater doesn't work, we'll still call you the prophetic gopher. So thanks a lot, Greg.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great call. Call again, sir. Thank you, Joe Blue. Jay Go Blue. Thank you for your super chat. Great. It's Greg. It's been a blast following you from the start of your channel. Just started posting and I'm really enjoying the community. Keep commenting. Jay Go Blue. I appreciate it. Give us a phone call. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it so very much. So does the little general. Timothy James, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. Phones are still blowing up.
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate. Immaculate is on the line. It happened. Oregon, Washington, Big Ten. Brett McMurphy, he did not eliminate that update story. He kept it in there. Big Ten, still possibly looking at 20, looking at ACC. What do you think's going on, sir?
Well, Brett first put the 3 looking eyes emoji out there.
Yes.
And he put those in again on this announcement. So I think that's stating that's what he was looking at. So this has been happening ever since those came out. That was the lead. This was the finish. Everything in between is just whatever. So congratulations. You made the call and you've held on to it through it all. So I wanted to call you and congratulate you on that first.
I'm showing the trash can.
I'm looking, yeah.
The trash can, this was June. No, it wasn't. Geez, I wish my wife was in the studio with me. This was soon. God, when was this? I want to say this was right before the announcement of USC UCLA. I saw this trash can. We were on a vacation. I saw this trash can at an antique store. I yelled out. I said, honey, look at that. It has all these schools. We thought Stanford was coming in. They're probably still coming in. Oregon, Wisconsin, Washington, Ohio State, although that's not the white Washington. Minnesota, Notre Dame, Indiana, right in a row. We had to buy it, $25 at an antique store. And Washington and Oregon fans, they know it was peek around the corner. Flag Empire Twitter. We got the word, it's been out there. Another, Action Network, Brett McMurphy, he never left that beam either, saying that Oregon and Washington were the next ones targeted. Big Ten did want them. It wasn't just Kevin Warren who wanted them. But Immaculate, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen with the Mountain West, the PAC, California, the whole thing? What's going on?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. And,
wait, can you hold on, Immaculate? I asked you a question, and then I tell you to hold on because I'm a jerk. Can you hold on 1 second?
You go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Timothy James, for your super chat. I appreciate your generosity to this channel. Thank you so much. Jay Perlmutter, Mr. Bruin is in the house. Hey, great show. On vacation, always following. What's your thoughts on when or where Stanford and California go? I have no idea. That's why I'm giving that tough question to Immaculate. Because really, I think they're going to get incorporated in the Mountain West, but we're going to listen to what Brian Immaculate says. Sergeant Pickles, Greg, you said 5 months or 5 years, not 5 days. Sergeant Pickles, Mr. Husky, he got me. He got me good. That is correct. I did not quite say 5 days. Timothy James, thanks again for your super chat. Thank you so much, Greg, for the constantly intelligent intel. You've nailed it once again. Congratulations. Great PATC community. Always has a well thought out information and perspective with Class 2. Thank you, Timothy James, for your generosity to this channel. Thank you so very much. Cameron B., I missed your super chat. I apologize. I'm looking for it. There's been so much going on. Cameron B., I missed this one. Jimmy, Miss Navarro needs to rule any PAC Mountain West. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Jimmy. Absolutely. The Mountain West Conference Commissioner, Miss Navarro, has to be the commissioner if there's going to be a merger. It can't be George Kliavkoff. I think we can all of us can agree with that. I'm looking for Cameron B. I apologize. Carson, oh my God, San Diego State just lost millions for money on a letter. I don't know. We'll see about Florida State. Immaculate's hanging on here. I want to see what he says about this. Cameron B., I do not see your I apologize. Immaculate, the floor is yours. Thanks for your patience. A lot of cleaning up here.
All good. You just had a flurry of information and
Yeah.
chats come in.
Yeah.
I get it. I am going to go in on Stanford. It's something that I've tried to hold on as much as I could because of the way the situation was, and I knew people, they're going to have their own opinions on it. But now that we've got Washington and Oregon figured out, people are going to look hard like Stanford and Cal. Are they next? I just want to go into what Stanford would have to give up in order to do that, okay? Are we all right on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Now, I know you've probably heard of the Ivy Plus Libraries Confederation.
Yes. Yeah, and Stanford.
The Ivy,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the Ivy's thing that's on the opposite side of the Big Ten Academic Alliance, which used to be called the CIC. When you look at the Ivy Plus Libraries membership, it's the MIT, Penn, University of Chicago, Johns Hopkins University, Harvard, Brown, Duke, Columbia, Stanford, Cornell, Dartmouth, Yale, and Princeton. Now, a couple of those should really stand out to folks. That's Chicago and Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins is a single member sport of the Big Ten. And yet here they are in this confederation, not with the Big Ten Academic Alliance, which they will never put another sport into that conference probably because they'd have to change on this. Why is that the case? Well, when you come in and you look at the background of when University of Chicago, Johns Hopkins, Duke, and Stanford have all just recently joined us between 2013 and 2016, when you look at when the University of Chicago left the CIC, it was June 29th of 2016. They literally left the Big Ten Academic Alliance, known as the CIC, to join this.
Yeah. Okay.
Stanford is not leaving this to join Big Ten in anything more than one sport because they would have to leave this confederation to join the Big Ten Academic Alliance. This is a massively joined library of all their research knowledge that they share. They're not leaving that to join the Big Ten. As much as, they stand to maybe lose on sports, it's not as big of a deal. So when we're looking at 19 and 20 for the Big Ten, if folks want to talk Cal, go ahead. If they want to talk Stanford, go ahead. But they need to understand what they're saying and what they're talking about. And that if they're going to join in multiple sports, they'd have to probably leave this to go join the Big Ten. Now, would the Big Ten allow them in as a single sport team, like Ryan Thomas and Chad is saying? Hey, that's a debate to be had. I would land on the no side. I wouldn't take Stanford for just football and not get their research as the Big Ten. We got a lot better options than that. That's that is what it is. So I'll let you think on that. I just wanted to drop that in there for folks to now start thinking about as we're in this point where Stanford and Cal are going to be brought up a lot. So congratulations, great day, and we'll talk again soon in the future.
Thank you, Immaculate. Appreciate it. Immaculate is no for Stanford ever getting into the Big Ten. Arizona Dusty. So thank you for your super chat. Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC playing every season is a tough schedule. The Big Ten's going to be tough schedule. Oh, yeah, I've said this before. Minnesota Golden Gophers, my beloved Gophers. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. I can see 2-10 seasons as far as the eye can see. Yikes. Thanks for your super chat. I appreciate it. 12.72. Greg, you need to save this live episode for posterity. What a range of emotions today, from despair to elation. Go Ducks. It was gobsmack from, okay, things are going the way they should. At least those are my emotions. Gobsmacked, couldn't believe what I was reading, to, okay, this is how we thought it was going to play out. 12.72 again. Wow. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Now let's get to some comments that I've been missing because we've been so busy. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. Woo! Now watch Apple be the Big Ten after dark partner. Bob's reality. I would hedge on, if there's going to be a new media partner, I think it's going to be Apple. Or maybe somehow ESPN and Big Ten can come together on that. Because ESPN needs that last time, fourth window. Well, they don't need it, but maybe they would want it. So I think Apple is somebody who wants the whole enchilada or most of it. I don't see Apple being a part of it. Amazon, yes. ESPN, yes. Or no new media partner coming on in. Congratulations to Oregon and Washington. This is from Bill G. But Stanford's Olympic Sports, Toon Mazda, Sheep in Wolf's Clothing, appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming into the chat, in the studio, in the home that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kirk Gowdy Avenue. Those are my favorite two college football announcing legends. That's why we have that in the intro. Sky, George Kliakoff rang my doorbell yesterday and was peddling Pac-12 Apple TV subscriptions. I said, what's a Pac-12? The Pac-12, 108 years of existence. The death blow. We had an episode yesterday. We put out an episode yesterday. Death blow to the Pac-12, Friday, August 4th. I think it was yesterday, or maybe the day before. But it was August 4th, Friday. We're sitting here, August 4th, Friday. I think once Michael Crow quits dragging his feet, I think the Arizona schools are going to go together to the Big 12. How long does Kliakoff get fired? It's over. Washington and Oregon officially go into the Big 10.
Call from
JB.
JB is on the line. The floor is yours.
Do you have to catch up with anything?
Huh?
Do you have to catch up with anything?
No, I do not. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. I was just making sure you didn't miss any super chat.
Yeah, I might. I don't think so.
Okay. I just got out of the doctor's office getting an ankle injection, and I just heard Oregon and Washington. Yes, it makes it worse for our Gophers.
Yeah.
I'm an M man. I'm kind of used to it. So.
Yeah.
What is the latest on Arizona State then?
Michael Crow is dragging his feet. A lot of upset people. Arizona, they're ready to go, but it'd be easier if they went together. I know a lot of people at Arizona State are ready to go, but Michael Crow does not want the Pac-12 to end. He's kicking and screaming, but I think it's over real soon for Arizona State. I think there'll be a Big 12 member probably any minute now, I would guess.
So isn't it the same guy who's in the past couple of years talked them into bad contracts and bad deals?
Yes.
So why would anybody want to listen to him?
Well, they don't, but he is the the decision maker at Arizona State. So
yeah, well, he may not have that position for long. if that's the
yeah.
If that's the case, if he wants to continue to cause schools to lose millions and millions of dollars, and and that gets to one of my 2 points, Greg. One is people got to understand there's been a lot of turnover in chancellor, presidents, and ADs offices in the past couple of years. Even in the last year, since USC and UCLA was brought in the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the Pac-12. There's been a lot of turnover since COVID, and a lot of people are either in their first year or their first months, and that's why a lot of things are changing too. And the other
other thing I want to say is congratulations. I would tell people to listen to independent people like you and also people like Yahoo Sports and whatnot, and don't believe the hype from people that work for companies that have 3-letter networks or 4-letter networks after their name, because they're told what to say and what not to say. So with that, I'll let you go.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Great call,
Yep.
JP. Thank you very much. Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports. As reported last night, Big Ten's offer to Oregon and Washington, if plans didn't change, was expected to be a partial share. Other details are unclear, but this reduced rate likely convinced the Big Ten powers like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and the University of Southern California. They don't have a vote. UCLA and USC, but we have unanimous voting. It's always been an interest in the Big Ten to bring on Washington and Oregon. All the people who said, no, that's not going to happen. Because if it was going to happen, it would have already been done by now. I cannot stand that logic. That doesn't work in the real world. That's Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports.
Call from
Grateful Trojan.
Grateful Trojan is on the line. University of Southern California Trojan. The floor is yours. What are you thinking here? Oregon, Washington, going to be playing USC now every single year, probably. What's going on, sir?
How are you, Greg?
Doing great.
Man.
Doing fantastic. Big day today.
Excellent. Hey, man. I just first time calling in, and I definitely want to say you were right, buddy. You were right. You know, I was against it for a long period of time, and I've wavered a little bit just on the idea that there's rivalries there. You know, obviously there's rivalries between us and the Huskies and hatred towards the Ducks.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But to all Big Ten fans, if you get a chance to take a road trip, I strongly recommend going to Husky Stadium. It is absolutely gorgeous there.
Yeah.
I had a chance to go there in, I think it was 2003, Reggie Bush's freshman year, and I went to a game in the 1940s crisscrossed.
Okay.
It was absolutely incredible. But yeah, there's mixed emotions, but there's excitement at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to do for our 2024 schedule.
I don't either. That's wild. Yeah.
I don't want to lose the Michigan home game. That's the one I don't want to lose.
I don't want to lose. The Gophers don't want to lose the road game at the Rose Bowl against UCLA for next year. So
exactly. So we had the carrot kind of dangled in front of us with that schedule, and then now it's all going to be reinvented basically. So it's there's definitely some concern there because there was excitement, So, but obviously for selfish reasons, the Trojans didn't want them in. Oregon's done a really, really great job recruiting Southern California, and that was our advantage. That was definitely an advantage for us. And there's multiple reasons beyond that we didn't want them, but it is what it is now. We got to get on board. If you join a conference, your say is minimalized.
Yeah.
So
and now,
I mean, we had a chance to go independent. You know, if we wanted to go independent, we could have.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could have worked out something with Notre Dame to kind of do a scheduling, or not scheduling, but a media agreement with them had we wanted to go that route.
Yeah.
But we chose to go with the Big Ten, and this is what you get. You know,
that's what it gets. The Big Ten schedule is going to be crazy difficult. So buckle up. All different environments. West Coast, Midwest.
The campuses out here are incredible.
Huh?
All campuses that you'll see out here, they're incredible.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend coming out this way.
Yeah.
If you get a chance. And I mean, that's the biggest thing. I don't see how we keep Notre Dame on the schedule. I don't. I mean, I know we're going to.
Yeah.
But you just put a gauntlet of a schedule of a Big Ten schedule together, and then you've got to play an out of conference against Notre Dame. Sometimes in South Bend, you have to pick up another travel to go into the Midwest on an out of conference. That's difficult.
Great point.
That's difficult,
especially when the Big Ten is probably, I shouldn't say, how should I put this? More than ever, the Big Ten probably will be looking at a 10th conference game. Especially if we have like a semifinals.
Right away.
Huh?
I would think it's coming right away.
It could be. And we reported here at Peek Around the Corner at PJ Flex, his last extension that he got here, a new extension on his contract. In the contract, reported by the St. Paul Pioneer Press, Andy Greeter, fantastic college football reporter. He said that PJ Flex, in his contract, his agent made sure that PJ Fleck got bonuses, certain win bonuses during the season within a 9-game conference schedule and with a 10-game conference schedule. Two different parts of PJ Fleck's contract, knowing that a 10-game conference schedule, it was going to be more difficult for PJ to reach whatever that win total is, correct? Two different portions. So the agents, the athletic directors, the universities, Big Ten, we know that possibly right around the corner, it could be a 10-game conference schedule. I doubt
I would
if the
think
Big...
that's a part of the way to get the media money to absorb them.
Good point. Another great point. Yes. Yep.
So I mean, if you're gonna put high quality games on, with a 10-game schedule, there should be a bump in it, and that would probably be going towards the expansion of Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And one thing I do want to say, another reason why USC was against it is we do not want the after dark. We do not. I don't think any of us, and all four schools involved, want the after dark time slot.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody that's traveling out here from the Midwest or staying home in the Midwest wants to wait up for a game at that time. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So that's another reason, but it's exciting, man. It's exciting.
It's exciting. It's really exciting. Thank you so much, Grateful Trojan, for your phone call. Please call again. We're going to need Trojan representatives. We're going to have Ducks in here. We need the Trojans in here. We're going to have Huskies in here. I mean, we have evil badges in here. So we're going to need you, Grateful Trojan, to keep calling us here at Peek Around the Corner.
Will do, Greg. Thank you so much, and fight on.
Thank you. Fight on, Trojans. Thank you very much. We have a super chat from Coy. Thank you so much for your generosity to this channel. Congrats again, Greg. You are definitely the Godfather. Thank you so very much. That's one of the many names that I now have, including the fat guy from Minnesota. Now I'm called the Godfather. Thank you so very much.
Call from
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling. What's going on? What do you think's happening here?
Yes, sir. First off, let's say we really appreciate all the work you and Little General do.
Thank you.
And we think you might have to get a hold of your Arizona money perch. Tell him to put a baby on that on that stroller and get him across that line. We need that ASU to keep going.
Yeah.
We're tired of this stuff.
Yes. I think I'll give him a call. I don't talk to him directly anyway, but I'll get in touch with somebody who does.
Tell him to put a binky in that mouth so he can quit crying. Have a good one, and thanks again.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate the call. We got a couple more super chats. Coy, thank you again. Congrats to Oregon and Washington, now to Florida State. Wow, news broke on Florida State this morning. JP Morgan Chase, could it be equity partner in the Florida State building that war chest? We're going to get into that. We're not going to get in that today, but tomorrow we'll be doing an episode, live show. We're going to be talking about Florida State, JP Morgan Chase. If that happens, massive news. Carson, once again, thank you for your super chat, to the generosity of the show. Greg, do we go to pods? We go to pods if we go to 20? I think so. I think we will. And I think we're going to have a semifinal conference weekend. The 4 winners of those pods going to play in that'll be the 10th conference game. And then second place teams across the pods will play against each other. Third place team, fourth place team, fifth place. In other words, you're not going to know who your last game is going to be against. The last game of the season, which is going to be semifinal weekend. You're going to know you're going to be home or away. So I think the pod champions are going to be designated, A, B, C, D, however you want to name those pods. You're going to know the pod winner is going to be going on the road or on the home before the season starts. So as a person who has your schedule, you're going to know what that 10th conference game is going to be, home or away, but you're not going to know who you're going to be playing. Put it that way. I think that's how they're going to set it up, but we're not there yet. We're at 18 schools. You're going to have to get to 20 to go to pods. We'll see what happens. Thank you again for your super chat. The lines are open. 763-260-1333. Is there any news? Chat, let me know. Is there any news on the Arizona schools? So FSU is seriously contemplating getting in bed with Jamie Dimon? The ACC must be worse than I thought. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It could be happening. Morgan Chase has likely cracked the ACC gore 100%. Or they're willing to give Florida State the money, the war chest. In return, to have some equity in Florida State's front porch of their university. The pod finals, according to Conundrum, should be Rose Bowl, LA Coliseum, Ford Field, and Indianapolis. Holy smokes. I think it would be at the schools. Well, you know what? I don't know. Great comment, Conundrum. Appreciate it. Pacific, Big West, Big East, Atlantic pods. Washington has a rowing dynasty. Okay. All right. Big Ten hockey is going to be real interesting now. Well, none of those schools, Washington and Oregon, do not have a Division I program. Oregon, there's been noise from the Oregon Money Perch all the way back to episode 52 that they might be willing to establish their ACHA club hockey program and elevate it to a Division I program. Oregon, this might be part of it. This might be part of the negotiations. We were told in episode 52 that Oregon donors said this might become part of it because they were going to keep swinging away until they got into the Big Ten Conference. This is what Phil Knight has been working on for a year to get Oregon into the conference. Jared Jones, Mr. Buckeye, once again, thank you for your super chat. Generosity to this channel. If the Big Ten doesn't go to a 10-game schedule, then they have to do a 1-8-8 model. Iowa would lose 2 of their permanent rivals. Michigan would lose Michigan State. Otherwise, you can't play everyone every 2 years. Boy, this is going to get interesting. This is going to get interesting. Do they go to that model, Gerald Jones, or do they keep the flex permanent rival in and just say, look, we're not going to be able to play everybody once every 2 years. We're going to be able to play everybody once every 3 years. They might have to go to that standard. I don't think Iowa wants to lose their 3 permanent rivals. I don't think the Gophers want to lose their 2 permanent rivals. And I don't think Penn State wants to go off their 0 permanent rivals. Because now you're putting Penn State as a permanent rival in your 1-8-8. And who would Penn State's permanent rival be? Probably Michigan State. But Jared Jones, you bring up a good point. The Big Ten had a difficult time figuring out what the 2024 motto was going to be, how they were going to go going forward. They always left that little crack open for more teams to come in, and sure enough, it happened. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. Jim Bagley, again, thank you for your super chat. Very serious comment here. I cannot imagine the disappointment Oregon State and Washington State fans are experiencing. Today has been torture for them. Utah and Arizona State need to act quickly. Great coverage today and throughout realignment. Thank you, Jim Bagley, for your generosity. I appreciate it so very much. Let's get back to your comments. Back to your phone calls. The line's open. 763-260-1333. Austin Freeze, I think 111111 is the answer. D5 Terps, Flugs is still going strong. Absolutely. Jared Jones agreed with me. The Buckeye and the Gopher agreed with each other. What is this world coming to? That whole schedule thing, going to be fascinating to watch. Greg Swain, I think I got the name right. I apologize, Greg, for getting your name wrong in the past. I'm very bad with names. I'm very bad with pronunciating anything. So Greg Swain, if we only learn one thing from conference realignment, it's not and has never been about research or academics, despite some university presidents and media clowns trying to turn their narrative. I would disagree with you somewhat. It has been about academics. Going forward, it's going to be less about that because the new world of college sports is changing so drastically. Greg Swain, thank you. Appreciate your comment in the comments section. Tyler Anderson. Big Ten clearly wasn't planning to add Oregon and Washington so soon. Otherwise, why go through the trouble of releasing a schedule? That expansion door has been cracked open for months, as we reported. The schedule they released did not have dates to it, only matchups. They did not have dates to them. So no Big Ten fan made a plan to be, let's say, a Gopher fan like myself. Me and Maria, the moderator, the little general, we did not have those plane tickets bought. We did not have those seats bought for a game out in UCLA at a certain date in 2024. We did not make any travel plans because they did not attach any dates. I think they always left open the possibility that this was going to happen.
Call from
Morgan, Chase, Rockefeller. Who's next?
Morgan, Chase, Rockefeller, Western Civic is on the line. JP Morgan getting into the act.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, and that should let everybody understand, what level of society is invested in the changes that are going on here. I'm just trying to, we got to take care of ourselves, guys, all of us fans. We're all just sitting here trying to be the first one to get a window in on what our rulers got on, planned for us here. And that's the way it is to a degree. But let's just keep our eyes open. So anyway, but Greg, you seem to be completely discounting what I said this morning about ASU.
We have breaking news on ASU. We have breaking news on ASU.
All right.
Greg McMurphy, Action Network, Arizona State and Utah showing interest in Big 12. Sources told Action Network. Arizona has already applied for the Big 12 membership, so they're in the house. But, Big 12 now exploring its options following the news of Oregon and Washington leaving for the Big 10. Let me say the whole tweet once again. Arizona State and Utah showing interest in the Big 12. Sources told Action Network. Arizona has already applied for the Big 12 membership, but the Big 12 now exploring its options following the news of Oregon and Washington. Holy smokes, Utah and Arizona State. You got to get into the Big 12. You got to get in. Did you wait too long? Big 12 now exploring its options. What options are there besides no more expansion or expansion with Arizona State and Utah? Are you looking at Stanford? Are you looking at California? What are you looking at, Big 12? Western Civic, the floor is yours once again.
They're looking at Oregon State and Washington State, Greg.
Ooh.
Now, I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. Now, this is the I got nothing on Utah. I don't know. I have no indication that Utah's safe. I have no indication of anything on that. But the ASU thing, I really do trust my source, which would be the first step. And obviously, the most important thing in the news you just broke right there is that Arizona is in, which means that last night they were successful in separating Arizona and Arizona State. So that part has happened. So I really, ASU's going somewhere else. Now remember, I've got all the receipts out there, Greg. There was the thing from remember, the SEC plus the Magnificent Seven plus the Southern Mountain Schools equals 25. But on the other hand, Greg, I just cannot believe that Arizona State just miraculously got their AAU, certainly not to go to the Big 12, but that is much more important to the Big 10 than it is the SEC. So I'm going to say right now, as far as ASU, I think there's a 70% chance that ASU is joining Oregon and Washington in the Big 10. Now, I hope my Utes get there with them, but that's my prediction right now. Greg, have you ever read the full memo?
Full memo of what?
The full memo that I often put in your comments.
Yeah, once in a while.
If you're ever, if it's still the same, it's sort of like a blockchain. It's done in reverse chronological order, so you can see the changes along the last year. And I obviously got the relegation of Colorado and Arizona wrong. And what have we learned here? We've learned here that AAU is important, but you cannot just ride your AAU into top-tier football anymore, Greg. What do you think of that?
No, you can't. Not in this day and age. No, you can't.
Nope. You sure can't, and that's something we've learned. And, maybe we're going to have to, if we get a little lull in the action, maybe we'll call up and I'll try and get a recap of what we've learned so far. But, say what you want about ASU. They've got a lot of people complain about their leadership there for different reasons. But the news you just read just answered a question for me. They were successful in separating Arizona and Arizona State. And Arizona State is going somewhere that ain't the Big 12.
Okay.
And with that, Greg, again, I will not log in to watch football. Annual playoff flexibility is the key. And no war, for heaven's sake.
No war. All right, thank you, Western Civic. Appreciate the call. Again, a very interesting tweet by Brett McMurphy. Very interesting tweet. Put it up on the board again. Arizona State and Utah showing interest in the Big 12. No question about it. Sources told Action Network. Arizona has already applied for the Big 12 membership, but Big 12 now exploring its options. UConn, What are those options?
Call from.
Chromie.
I'm sorry, I did not get the name.
Chromie.
Chromie. The floor is yours. What's going on? What do you think's happening here?
Yeah, appreciate it. I think the recent Brett McMurphy tweet.
Yeah.
With that, I think Brett Yormark a little bit upset that the day's not his. Big Ten got the scoop. They got the press. And considering the options, could be putting pressure to bring in Utah and Arizona State at a lower rate and not give them full shares.
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit on your phone. I think what you're saying is Brett Yormark wants the spotlight back on the Big 12 today. And, right, that's what you're going with it?
Yeah, I think he's upset that the Big Ten got all the press.
Yeah.
And putting pressure that Utah and Arizona State, considering their options, is more or less possibly getting them in at a less than full share.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh man, I'm getting a lot of stuff. Yes. Now I don't know. I mean, I don't think Brett Yormark is taking it like personally or whatever. I don't think it really changes. I think Brett Yormark has gotten exactly what he wanted, to be honest with you. I think he knew that Washington and Oregon probably weren't going to be attainable. He's got Arizona in the boat, and now he's got Arizona State and Utah, right? They're talking with Brett Yormark. He's negotiating. They might not be able to come in as full rata. I think they will be, but we'll see what Fox is saying to Brett Yormark. And then we all know that Brett Yormark wants UConn somehow, some way to become members of the Big 12, be it a full membership or basketball only. He wants that New York media. He wants that Eastern media to be talking about Big 12 during Saturdays and during the basketball season. Yormark, now he can use even a little bit more leverage, right, on Utah and Arizona State, especially on Arizona State. Go ahead.
Yep, I agree. Appreciate the show, Greg.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Thank you so very much for the phone call. Yeah, we already covered that. Jared Jones, please no after dark Big Ten games. Do not screw this up. Was Pac-9, now not when PATC started, now it's Pac-7. Ryan Thomas thinks Arizona gets full share, no question about it. But Arizona State, Utah will get the same as the 4 new Big 12 schools for 2024, a year before the TV deal. Chad Bradley, Michael Crow, still believes in the Pac-6. Wet blanket, 4 corner schools were always the target. Brett Yormark was patient. He went for broke, and he got it. He got it.
Call from.
Devo.
The floor is yours. I did not catch the name.
It's Steve-O.
Steve-O, thanks for calling. The floor is yours. What do you think? What's going on right now? Arizona State, Utah, Yormark.
Well, I'm calling about this. People worrying about the after dark.
Yeah.
My thinking is the visiting team will be from the central time zone.
Okay.
not do the Eastern. I mean, all these donors and supporters and older people like we're getting to be not going to want to start a game at 10:30 Eastern.
Sure. Yeah.
So if it's one 9:30 game a season, they can put up with that.
Yeah. I think maybe a very limited after dark type of scheduling. 4 games at the most. Maybe just 2 games.
Well,
because I don't
one thing
think.
to throw.
Yeah,
one
go
thing I
ahead.
want to throw out. One thing I want to throw out to you is that with the ACC and their issues, they wouldn't want to do the. Well, I've lost my train of thought here now.
No problem.
You remember how when Texas and Oklahoma changed, how ESPN and Fox switched over, I think it was a Michigan-Texas game in scheduling?
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if something like that doesn't happen about the After Dark with ESPN getting Big Ten games.
Yeah.
And if ESPN gets the 10:30 Eastern games, they could have, 5 Big Ten games and 7 or so Big 12 games and cover that 10:30 time slot. So
Good.
once it gets in, if they start arguing, now I don't know what to talk about the ACC, if, Florida State, Clemson, whoever, then part of the payment, making each other whole, as they say, could be that 10:30 time slot.
That's a great call, great comment. I think there could be something between the Big 12 if ESPN comes through the back door with a negotiated 4th time window with the Big 10 combination with the Big 12. Yeah, I think. I think
the
Fox.
coaches,
go ahead.
Remember when ESPN got left out of the Big Ten deal? A lot of the coaches were upset. They're not worried about their exposure on ESPN, and this would be a way for ESPN to get back in to make the coaches happy.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Greg.
Thank you. I appreciate your phone call. Please call again, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so we know where the Big Ten went with this. Washington and Oregon. They got their 17th and 18th member. There's always been interest. Now the story that we're waiting on, and I thought this would be all locked up before we got to the Oregon-Washington story, is Arizona State and Utah. Arizona State and Utah just been reported. They're showing interest in the Big 12. Of course they are, now at this point. But Brett Yormark might have some options, might be negotiating, might be playing some hardball with Utah and Arizona State. Arizona State with their feet dragging. I do not think their positioning has not been dealt with. Michael Crow is a disaster. Let's be honest. It's a disaster. Michael Crow, the leadership. Bob's Reality, After Dark will always be a thing. Too much gambling money to be had. Now, that's a great point. Bob's Reality. That is a great, great point. He is correct. He is correct. Even if it's in a limited way, After Dark is going to be here to stay. Richard Salino, I want to see Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State play USC, Washington, and Oregon every single year. Some Utes have posted Utah Utes to the Big 12, and it's breaking. I haven't seen that. Big 12 championship at Rose Bowl. Thoughts at the, I think the Rose Bowl is going to try to maintain their game positioning when it comes to the playoffs. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. When it comes to like the semifinals and the championship game. Would the Big Ten be open to going back and forth between Indianapolis and the Rose Bowl. I know I would favor it. I know most people would favor it. I know UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington would be in favor of that. We'll see. I don't know what the Rose Bowl, how they would think of it. The people who engineer the Rose Bowl January 1st, we don't know. Yormark, John Coy Yormark said he wanted schools who brought all in on the Big 12. That is the standard he set. Rose Bowl no longer focus on conference play, rather as a championship series host. Yeah, that's where they are right now. We'll see if it changes. Maverick Buff, Yep, Jim Willis, we covered that. Brett McMurphy, Arizona State, Utah, showing interest in the Big 12. Sources told Action Network. Arizona has already applied for Big 12 membership at Big 12, now exploring its options. So here, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to our channel. Please smash that like button if you like our content. Share this video with your family and friends. We appreciate you all coming in today. We're going to lock this up for now. We're going to lock this up for now. I believe we are. Is that a true comment, AAR, about Stuart Mandel? Oh, I see. I see. This is Stuart Mandel reported Arizona State, Utah avoided having to defect until the last moment possible. Oregon needed last second convincing to join the freaking Big Ten. George K had 13 months to deliver a TV deal, a failure of epic proportions. I don't know. I don't see anything new coming out of there. Big Ten Network developing story on Oregon and Washington. I'm being told to check something else. I'll check it here in a second. Trying to keep up. I see Jason Shear is sending receipts out there on Twitter. He deserves to do so. I've done that enough. I'm not going to have to do that again. Okay. We are going to lock this up. We've been on the air for almost, I don't know, maybe 3.5 hours, 4 hours. I'm not even sure anymore. If there's some breaking news later on today, we probably will be going live, so keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel. We're waiting for Arizona State and Utah's decision to join the Big 12, or does Brett Yormark do something different? We shall see. Brett Yormark has had a plan. He's working his plan. I want to thank all of you for the generous donations to this channel this morning. for your incredible phone calls, your comments. We went on a roller coaster. The ride is over for now. Oregon, Washington into the Big Ten as the 17th and 18th member, as we reported at Peek Around the Corner, for an entire year, even before that. Oregon and Washington. It was going to happen 5 months from now. It was going to happen 5 years from now. We did not flip-flop. We did not have hundreds and hundreds of Oregon Ducks and Washington people blocking us on Twitter. We got the intel even before UCLA and USC announced that they were joining the Big Ten on June 30th. We broke the USC news March 31st of 2022 that USC was talking to the Big Ten. They were going to join the Big Ten. The donors wanted it. Wow. What a story for over the last 13, 14, 15 months. And it's only just begun here at Peek Around the Corner. We're almost wrapping up. We're 6 days away from our first year as a college football YouTube channel. I hope you have enjoyed the ride. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've had fun with our Holy Smokes Theater. We're going to continue that. Right now, though, the people at the loading dock, they're on strike. We put them to work too much. We're not paying them enough money. The hours are not good. They're on strike. We'll try to negotiate. We'll try to get them back in the loading dock to work once again. Holy Smokes Theater. Peek Around the Corner. Stick with us. Again, before you leave, subscribe to our channel. We appreciate you so much. It's a way for you to get notified of our next live show, our next episode, because we can pop up at any time. So keep your head on a swivel. Congratulations to Arizona joining the Big 12. Congratulations to the Oregon Ducks and the Washington Huskies for joining the Big Ten. UConn, who knows? The dominoes still might fall your way, your mark. He loves his UConn. We shall see. Utah, Arizona State. You got to do what you can do to get into the Big 12. And Michael Crow, quit dragging your feet. Until next time. From all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. We thank you so very much.